The Nessmans. Give up that microphone. I'm the baddest brother that you know.
What's going on, guys? My name is Holla. Welcome back to LWO Radio, the show with the most go on the internet today. And we have got a great episode lined up tonight. I'm super psyched. If you're new to watching LWO Radio, welcome. I gather we may have a lot of Nessmans fans in the audience tonight. Give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and don't forget to get involved in the chat tonight. We'll try and take as many questions as we can for the band. The band's here. They're ready to rock and roll. We've got an epic evening lined up. As usual, LWO Radio is enjoyed with your vice of choice. Tonight, I'll be drinking the brewskis, whatever you like. Tuck in. We're looking at a pretty long episode. I'm not gonna lie, chat. This one to 2.5 hours at least. We got a ton of content and just a great show ahead. So you guys are looking at the band. We're gonna get to them in just 1 second, but I want to introduce my co-host with the. Hold on a second. Nope, I'm pretty sure that's not Scotty on your screen. A guy who is not only the executive producer of LWO Radio, but also won a fan contest right in Nessmans fan contest to be on the panel tonight. I'm talking, of course, about T-Money. T-Money, welcome back to LWO Radio.
Yeah, thank you. My first time on this season. And it's actually pretty easy to win a contest when you're the executive producer and you don't tell anybody about the contest, right? So, yeah.
No, we're not gonna look. We can do whatever we want because we have the microphone and you don't. Exactly. T-Money is on the panel tonight. Of course, Scotty isn't here. Scotty's doing great, recovering from a bit of a surgery earlier this week. He'll be back on next week. But T-Money winning that contest, that's really worked out conveniently. You ready to roll tonight? Are you excited?
Oh, yeah. This is the episode I've been looking forward to all season. I didn't know I was going to be on it. Much love to Scotty. I wish that Scotty was on it and I was in the chat, but I'm thrilled that Scotty's doing great and he'll be back next week.
Oh yeah, we're in for a real treat. We've been looking forward to this. As you know, our house band is the Nessmans. Thank you to them for microphone at the start, and the first time we can actually thank them in person. I'm getting giddy. I feel like I'm back in middle school, and my mom told me that I got those tickets to the New Kids on the Block. That same flurry of activity right here. Although could be heartburn in my middle age, but
totally could be.
But pretty epic.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool for me because, I've been a big fan of these guys for, like 2 decades, but I haven't met any of them before. So to get the chance to be on the episode with them is so cool. Bitch Renson, Jill's brother, Fatty Gay. I mean, these are guys that I've just been following. I watched The Dirt on Netflix the other day and, it reminds me of these guys. So it's just awesome to be here. I'm thrilled. It's just going to be an epic night.
Look, we've done a pretty beautiful job of stalling. And that's sometimes our job. Sometimes we just got to milk it a little bit, but the chat is frothing at the bit to hear from our guests tonight. The episode title is The Meet and the Nessmans. And so tonight, for lack of a better word, we have a very, very special group spanning decades of generational talent. These guys are self-described as Shuswap Fusion. I understand they're currently working on something a little bit new, guys. Something a little bit new. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Nessmans.
The flowers that you gave me are just about to die. When I think about what could have been, it makes me cry. The sweet words that you whispered didn't mean a thing. I guess our song is as we begin to sing. Could have been.
Print it, boys. Print it.
I love it, boys.
Read it.
Whoa,
Slow
That's
clap
so good.
on that.
So good.
that was
One
tight.
more time, or we're good?
Oof.
I think we got that. That's a single
Yeah, that's
count wonder.
about as good as we're gonna get it, I think. Yeah, I think.
Are you guys working on anything
a wrap.
else new, or is that it?
Well,
Let's
I tell you
get
what we're
better
going to work on next time is Rich Benson's timing. Okay, I tell you to come in early. He comes in late every time. I can't.
I've got a bad internet connection over here. It's a little slow. It's about 50 milliseconds too slow.
Fucking Whistler.
It starts. It's going to be a long episode.
It's
It's gonna
definitely
end-
the technology, not the talent.
It's
or lack
100%
thereof.
going to end with somebody saying they don't like somebody else's look. If I'm not mistaken. Collectively, the Nessmans, we're talking, we don't have all the Nessmans here. I understand some are in the chat tonight, but we're talking to Bitch Renson, Jill's brother, Koski, and of course, Fatty Gay. I want to start with you, Fatty Gay. Welcome to the show. Welcome to LWO Radio.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. First time on the show. I've watched the show a few times, snippets of it. I can't watch the whole episode. They're long. But yeah, glad to be here, and I'm glad to be here with these fellas. We haven't hooked up for a while. We used to hook up every Friday night. It was sort of my hookup. But now it's good to see you guys, and I'm glad you guys are here with me, and glad to be on here. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. My wife's tired of hearing about it, so I'm glad we can talk about this amongst some fellas that really know what's going on.
I like it. Fellows that know what's going on in me. That could be a future title. Spilly, your first time in the guest seat, of course, you were a special host at the end of season 1. How are you been, man?
Pretty good. I've been stoned since then, but so I'm just sort of coming to it right now. But yeah, good. Glad to be back. Glad to be here with the boys. The band is back. Ready to rock here tonight.
Fuck, you look great. Speaking of looking great.
I don't like the cut of your look, but whatever.
It wouldn't be the first time it's been said on these airwaves. It's early, man. We got a 26-hour ride to get through before we get to that point.
Oh yeah, totally.
Speaking of good looks, no Nessmans show would be complete without the wonderful Koski. Koski, how you doing, man?
Things are good. It's a pleasure to be back. This is obviously got the chance to be on the Legends hockey version with Britchie and Troy, which is an absolute pleasure, and to be on here with Maddie and of course Spilly, Bitch Ranson, is amazing. Fatty, really excited to be talking to you tonight. Very excited.
Thank you very much.
Brent was saying to me in a text that he was really looking forward to be on an episode with some co-guests that he actually liked. So that's kind of nice as well.
A bit harsh on Britchie.
Yeah,
it's a bit harsh on Britchie. Britchie, if you're watching this, that was made up. Or it wasn't. I don't know. We're trying to cover.
He's a great lyricist, though. A great lyricist.
We haven't seen you guys so far this season on LWO Radio, but we've heard your work. Just about every episode's featured a new music video for the LWO Legends, and I know the guys have been vibing, and I know we're gonna talk about all your music tonight. It's gonna be a great episode. But before we get into that, before we go to T Money for his segment, I do want to acknowledge some of the folks in the chat, starting. Of course, with the champ, first one in, pumped about the Nessmans. So chat, if you're back next week, get in there first. You're going to get the first shout out. Honey Badger in a musical mood. Monty, love you, Monty. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Coolio's representing. And of course, Scotty talking about his surgery. He's so humble, that guy. He's so humble, but he's jacked for this episode. So that's good. Sweeper. Hope you're doing well. Great episode last week. If you haven't gone back and watched the Dukes FC episode, it was definitely a keeper. Gussie, great to see you. Shout out to the T-Dot boys, one of the biggest Nessmans fans out there on LWO. Levi, quoting some lyrics there from Going Down too. Nice work.
One of the members of the LW or the Nessmans tribute band, the Fatty Gays, is Levi.
That's very nice. Mac Daddy. And I'm pretty sure I saw a comment from Mac Daddy about he was calling out the Tiffany as just an amazing
Tiffany.
sound. The Nessmans. Sorry, it's a slip of the tongue. I've been
I don't know.
Age.
Brian Major's there, Handsome Bait, Alec. Who are we missing? I know there's more people in here. Mike Perry, great to see you. Oh man, Dalek is in the chat. Look at that. Look at this. Look at all these guys. Bremner, thanks for joining us. Have a good sleep, Bremner. But there's others in here. Mike or Lisa Sharpie. There you go.
Yeah.
We got
That's
some.
it.
We got
That's
some
hot.
loves. Kelly Vincent from the Chicks with Balls episode a couple weeks ago. There's still more. Trust me, I got more. Look at this.
Luke
There we
Mohawk.
go. There we go.
Go.
Mohawk.
Bring it. Bring it.
Double D.
Ryder Petch is in
Oh.
there. Who? Oh, we got another one. Mr. and Dr. Walkerson. Okay.
Nice boobs. Dr. Walkerson.
That's a
Great.
provocative.
Welcome, Dr. Walkerson.
That's a
Pearl
provocative.
Ernie. Yes.
All right. We've shouted out the chat. We've entered the guests. It's time to get into the action. I want to send it over to T Money, who I believe T Money, I think you got a bit of a short segment here that helps introduce the Nessmans. So why don't you have at her?
Yeah, thank you, Holla. This is something I was trying to think of what I could do. I'm not as witty as our normal co-host, Scotty Rimmick. Much love to Scotty. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to lock down a proper sponsor for this episode, so I do apologize for that. But then it came to me. I was thinking, like, we've got the LWO, we've got Rap Attack people, and then I was thinking, you know, I've got my old diary, and I started flipping through my diary, and I found this entry, like this one entry that I thought was just almost perfect for this episode. So I want to read that to you right now. The date of it, just to set the context, Thursday, July 32nd, 2001. Technically, it's Friday morning at 4 a.m. that I write it. And here it goes. It starts, "Are you there, God? It's me, T Money. What a great night. We played the Grebes in soccer after work, and they actually played really well. We were missing Spilly, Maddie, and Koski, which hurt us for sure. They got called to a fire at Crazy Creek. Thankfully, Monty scored a late one, and we won 13-0. Coolio said mandatory team meeting at the Livewire afterwards. Mac and I walked in about 9:30 after saving the $2 cover and skipping the line with our VIP passes. We walked down the stairs. You could just feel the electricity in the air. Cotton-eyed Joe was pumping. Kit Welburn and Jesse Bafana were dancing shirtless on the speakers. Coolio, Champ, Jose, Mike Warby, and Levi have trays of shooter tutors lined up, and they're downing them like they're nearly alcohol-free. Max says he's going to buy the first drinks for us. He walks up to the bar, and he orders 2 vodka slimes, hold the line. Lindley Steves and John Davies are right beside us. Lindley says it's time to tie one on. Monty, Guy, Gammy, Dave, and Hojer are next up. Guy orders double ryes for him and Monty, beers for Gammy and Dave, and a soda for Hojer. The bartender points to the picture of Guy and Monty on the wall. It reminds them that their rye ban remains in effect. Gammy and Dave sip on their beers and chuckle, while Guy and Monty mutter nonsense about the Livewire employee that was stalking them a month ago, and noticed Guy pissing into a mug and Monty hitting Guy with a chair, spilling the contents of said mug onto the dance floor. Mike Sharp was talking to Mike Zobak and Ryder Petch, accompanied by vigorous gestures that reminded me of someone attacking a generously sized lollipop. They were obviously talking about Spilly. None of them seemed the least bit surprised when Mike Benson poked his head into the conversation to say that Spilly had called him the other day to mention that he was a porn star. Luke Grinder was wearing his extra small Matinique shirt over by the foosball table. He was telling Lisa Scharf, Jill Koskamaki, and Barb Wayslow about how he was biking past Hillcrest School in the morning when a bunch of kids in Nikki Bruce's class started yelling at him for not wearing a bike helmet. I didn't catch the entire conversation, but I did hear him say he yelled back at the kids something to the effect of, "I'm going to ride my bike my own way. Fuck you, fuck you." Anyway, suddenly a hush falls over the crowd. We could all hear something. A helicopter. It was getting closer and closer. You could hear it landing right outside the Livewire. The crowd was still pretty quiet because we all knew what was coming. We'd seen this before. We could hear the beautiful sounds of a trumpophone as people came down the stairs. Darcy, Spilly, Koski, and Maddie all come into the wire. They're wearing their red flight suits with soot on their faces. Proper heroes, proper legends. Total silence. except for the sign by Ace of Base was playing in the background. Everyone's staring at the Nessmans, except for Murray Hurlburt and Terry Michaels, who are now dancing on the speakers. I scan the faces of the crowd. Guys dream, women scream, and Matty belts out at the top of his lungs. I work at Rap Attack, baby. What a time to be alive.
Amen.
Amen.
I think we want to follow that up. That was unbelievable. I think we want to follow it up.
That was amazing.
Wow.
Last week we ended the show with a little bit of a little video about the Nessmans. We want to re-show it tonight because I think we've got some new viewers. So I'm going to turn it over to that. But T-Money, fantastic work.
Oh, cool.
You got to be careful because I don't know if we'll bring Scotty back with stuff like that. You know,
We could just
That's
wrap the
legit.
show right now. Actually,
Yeah.
that was a high note right there.
absolutely. All right, we roll.
I would rap attack, baby. I'm gonna slide down that road. I'm gonna fly away, honey. I'm just no way to say no.
Our first gig where we're the headliners was this lesbian band opened for us.
Not in a good way.
Not in a good way. Also,
There weren't lesbians that usually hang out with us. I'm not trying to be politically incorrect here, but
but you are.
riding around the back of the Mojo, Kit Wellburn driving. While he drove, he also had a megaphone, sort of announcing our gig that night at the Triple Wide, which Triple Wide is probably the height of the career.
I mean, I'd like to say that's a special time in my life, which it was, but really it was a special time in rock and roll.
People be buying you whiskey drinks, you know, maybe buying you vodka drinks, maybe some lager drinks. You know, Maddie would go off singing "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina," that sort of thing.
I'm pretty sure Fatty wouldn't want me to say anything about that.
We had to book gigs, we had to play the gigs, we had to get wigs for the gigs. I mean, you know, each and every night it seemed we get knocked down, we get up again, then they never want to let you down.
The low point of the Nessmans. Yeah, there were a couple of them. I think it was about 2 weeks, actually, where we really didn't see Rich at all. And we're not entirely sure what happened.
I dropped acid for 2 weeks straight and just recorded everything, and then put that onto like a really big laser disc.
But not a direct ripoff. I think that's the recipe. Just change a couple things.
Just a little bit.
Just enough.
Mhm. They'll tell you about, you know, sex and drugs and rock and roll, and we didn't have any of that. So that sort of set us apart from
that was never
from other bands.
never an issue.
Yeah.
Next question.
Oh, hello.
Well, there you go.
I love that video.
Nice work, Chrissy Bufano, if he ever sees this.
How about Sultry Stew on the penis flute there, though? Hey,
Yeah.
I mean, rivaling some recorder
I was
skills.
gonna say Holla and Salty should get together on a duet.
Clash of the Titans,
That was way too skillful.
Battle of the Bands.
Way too skillful. Maddie, you got to come off mute when you talk, brother.
Fatty.
How about that? How about that? Is that good? How do you put that?
You're
Hey,
good.
You can
Rich
speak.
Benson, did you at one point in time whittle a penis flute during your off time at Rap Attack?
I think he did actually.
I believe it was, maybe it was a flute, but it was a penis of some sort. Is that true?
I think it was a woman's figurine, actually. But, you know, potato.
No, I don't think it was.
Let's see it.
At your request.
Yeah.
I made one for you.
I've seen some of Old School's work as well. I don't know if you learned from him or he learned from you, but yeah, he's done some really nice woodwork.
I think he's
as well.
taking it to another level.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Boys, we got to do one more thing before we get right into the meat of the episode, and that of course is the dedication. And this week I'm gonna go over to I think Fatty, I think you're gonna You're going to do the dedication this week. Surprise, surprise. I don't know if I've surprised you or not, but
Prepped all week for this, he told me.
unbelievable. This
This is going to be good. This is going
This
to
is
be good.
not going to
really
be the
good.
greatest
What do we get?
dedication
what are we
ever.
doing here, guys?
This is just a tribute, right?
What's a dedication?
This is okay.
Don't tell me you're winging it, Maddie.
I'm winging it. I
Take-
got this. I got this information about. Oh, look at that! Some nice pictures there. This is dedication to Mike Scharf and Diamond Dave.
Sultry Stew.
Sultry Stew and Darcy Deutscher, Diamond Dave. Diamond. What's his name?
Wealthy hippie.
Wealthy hippie. Anyways, for these two men, they say, and I've seen the best work they've ever done is on the shitter, taking a shit. At one point in time, my first one was beside Darcy Deutscher at Rap Attack, and he had his Rap Attack manual on the ground at his feet, and I was in the next stall taking a shit, and he was also taking a shit, and I remember him saying, "This is where I do my best studying," and I think he studied for about 15 minutes every night, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, that he got better grades than all of us.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
At the Rap Tech. I'm not sure where cost making was, probably in the 70s, but I was in the upper 80s, and I think that Darcy was in probably the 90s or 95 percentile.
Yeah.
And a quote that I will always remember from Mike Scharf was, "You need to eat a cup of soup a day, and you poop right all the time." I know that Mike Scharf is a big advocate of soup, and I believe it to this day because I myself have taken that into my life's work, and I eat a lot of soup, and I'm pretty regular.
Great.
So, yeah.
Good tip. That's this week's health tip, I guess.
That's the For Your Health segment. Take it care of.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Better information than I expected.
Yeah.
Sharp's a great chewer, by the way, as well. He probably chews his soup.
He does
30
take-
times, 30 chews per bite,
That's part of it. Well,
Yeah. even with the soup.
Darcy Deutscher and Mike Scharf, wish you were here. This episode is dedicated to you. If you want to do this again sometime, I'd love to. I'd love to have you guys on here because they have perspectives that we don't have. Obviously, these two gentlemen are quite smart. Those two gentlemen are on another level. As far as musicianship, I don't know an instrument that Darcy Deutscher can't play. And we certainly would allude to Mike Scharf for all of our solos on the saxophone. If there was a solo to be done, Mike Scharf would be the one to do it because you play that so well, and no one else could play our instruments very well. I think that's
all the solos, if I remember, because none of us wanted the solos. That was
He Sultry Stew fills in the talent portion of the band.
Yeah.
As a fan, there was definitely a marked change in the solos for sure when Sultry Stew joined the band. I did notice that
I don't think there
nobody
was
else did a solo anymore, and or maybe it was nobody had ever done a solo before.
He had about 20 trumpamophone solos, I believe, before Sultry Stew joined.
Well, there is one solo that I will allude to later on at Steamers, and I'll talk about that later, that Bitch Renson did. That was a memorable one, but I'll talk about that later.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And with that, we end the dedication segment. Well, that was a beauty. Boy. It's like, cheers to that. Cheers to
We're off the rails already, boys.
It's like I said, boys. If we get stuck, just make fart noises till the end of the show. Okay, we'll be fine, right? Yeah. Listen, we got to get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, and no disrespect to soup, but it's time to have the full meal deal, and that, of course, is our origin segment. We do origins every week, and this week it's origins of the Nessmans, which is fantastic. Spilly, I know you have prepared a bit of a slideshow. I don't want to call it a PowerPoint because that's too corporate for a band like the Nessmans. But I'm gonna play it up. Am I reading? I'm gonna read out some testimonials. Am I not?
Sure. Yeah.
Is that how we're running this thing?
Yeah, these are some random testimonials that I found from various newspaper articles over the years.
Okay.
Yeah, so go for it.
Okay.
Nice looking album.
Yeah. There we go. So a few testimonials, if you will, chat. Here we go. The Nessmans are just like the Rolling Stones, except that their music sucks and they have no talent. Come to think of it, the Nessmans might more accurately be compared to Nickelback. That's an
Bit of a-
unattributed quote.
Bit of a dig at Nickelback there.
Yeah.
It's not for me, Chad. I didn't say that.
I like Nickelback. They're pretty
I
good.
like Nickelback. Burn it down.
Unfair comment.
They party hard. I do know that through a friend. Anyways, there you go. I always feel better about myself after I go to a Nessmans concert. Somehow going to watch a bunch of has-been 30-somethings trying to wank on their guitars and sing about body parts and other politically incorrect grade 5 topics makes me realize that life could be a lot worse. At least I'm not a Nessman.
Well,
that's
just
not
think when
really
you're talking.
accurate.
That's fairly personal. That hurts.
Yeah. It's not really accurate though. We're 40-somethings.
True. Yeah, that's actually a compliment, isn't it? It makes us, they think we're 30-something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
an old, that's dated. It's a dated
Oh,
quote.
it's
We were immature back then.
accurate. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at how we've grown.
You've grown up a lot. All right. Let's see what's this next one. As a teacher, I took my class to a Nessmans concert for a field trip. Not only was their politically charged song, No Smoking in the Fuel Shed, helpful to our school's anti-smoking campaign, but songs like STD did wonders in bolstering our sex education program. There you go. That's positive, guys.
Shout out Mickey Bruce. Shout out Mickey Bruce.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mac Daddy maybe even. White
Mhm.
boy
Mhm.
That's another teacher.
That's true.
could be the champ. Yeah.
I think part of it is just that nobody feels like having sex after they watch one of your concerts, right?
That is true.
No, what else? Anyways,
Okay. And, I don't find them very relevant. Back to not nice.
That one. That's more at Luke's.
That's pretty accurate. That one.
That one.
Can I chime in on that one?
That was a
For
beach.
sure.
Yeah, you should
Chime
take
in.
Troy.
That one I remember. We were at Luke's wedding in Costa Rica, and
That's
Spilly
weird.
and Koski played a beach concert just in the evening.
And Troy.
Concert is like
Troy was key.
is probably overhyping it. They just had the guitar and sang a bit and played on the beach. And we're staying at this all-inclusive in Costa Rica. And in the morning, Luke's mom kindly walks up. Me and Spilly and Koski are sharing a room. That's its own story, actually. But we're sharing a room, and we're walking down in the morning. And Luke's mom comes up to us, really kindly comes up and just, you think she's going to say something about these guys playing the night before. And she did. She just said, I want to let you guys know that I don't find your music relevant. So that's nice. That's just nice of her to take the time to come and tell them that.
It's a fact. That's a fact.
You clearly affected her enough for her to say that. So I'm calling bullshit on that story, Okay. What else? Oh,
look at that.
Sure, Les Nessman here.
There he is.
there he is.
God bless.
Himself.
God bless the Ness.
God bless the Ness. Doing less with Ness.
Fantastic.
The inspiration behind this band.
Good looking guy.
Yeah. Where is he now?
It's a good question.
I don't know. He's not on an LWO radio show. That's for sure.
Nope.
All right. I think that might be okay. We're getting into our origin segment now, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, every week we do origins. Spilly, I want you to start us off. I think we need to know, and I know these slides are going to drive a bit of the conversation, but I think we really need to know what the band was doing before they were Nessmans. Everyone has been writing in all week. We've got a lot of fan letters. So, Spilly, I want you to talk us through this here as I flip through the slides, all right?
So everyone's version of history is a little bit different, but we do have pictorial evidence.
Okay, here we go.
So I believe we've got Yogi, the wealthy hippie here.
George Harrison phase.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure. He lived in India, was doing a lot of meditating. Don't know much about that past, but obviously there he is, with his dollars.
I can't do that stretch.
No.
Yeah, Sultry Stu was a rodeo clown, I believe.
Yeah.
Again, pictorial evidence. Brent, did you ever see him at the Stampede at all, or?
Several times. He was a highlight. If Sharfie shows up in Cowtown during the Stampede, it's very recognizable and well loved.
And you're safe. You're safe as a rodeo, as a Bronco.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he'll take care of you.
Yeah, one hell of a clown, that guy. one hell of a guy.
I gotta say, I mean, I don't know what's going on in this photo, but the fact he's wearing the puzzle rodeo clown shirt is a big hit with me. I mean, I think it implies, you know what, if you're chasing down my man over there, I want you to try and put this puzzle together. And it's the thinking man's rodeo clown, I think, is what you're gonna say, right?
There's some intelligence, there's something intellectual about that one.
Yeah, I couldn't think that deep, but that makes sense.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
And I believe Koski was a carny before I met him.
I forgot about that, but you're right.
Yeah. I don't know what was your favorite ride that you used to work at?
The Big Dipper.
The Big Dipper. Right. Interesting. Okay.
Long story. Yeah.
Koski, I gotta know, like, if I'm taking my date to the boardwalk here, and are there any tips that you want to tell our guests? It's just between us, right? It's just between us,
right? As far as actually,
how do we beat these games? How do we get the big stuffy banana in the background?
Yeah, the key is the slipping.
No one's getting that.
Yeah, $5, $20 in the back pocket, that sort of a thing goes a long way.
I think for Koski's more of
it's all magnets, actually. It's all a magnet.
Hand, a little face to face. He likes the skin touching.
Yeah, that's true. That's the point.
All right. Like,
if I'm not mistaken, sorry.
My front pocket, that helps.
Go T.
If I'm not mistaken, when the fair came through Salmon Arm, that's when Koski and Spilly met, right? Because Spilly got a job, and Mac may remember this, at one of the fall fairs, blowing up balloons for Koski, I guess. I didn't even actually piece the puzzle together, but yeah, so that's sort of a little.
Yeah, that was my first job I had for about 5 minutes.
You were blowing Koski?
His balloons. He was blowing.
I was blowing his balloons. Come on.
My balloons, Fatty.
Sorry.
But on that note, I'm pretty sure we all know what Fatty used to do, right? Gigolo or I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. Take this however you may as
I will pictorial evidence. The guy he's with there.
Pictorial evidence.
It's a little known fact that sailors are good tippers.
Yeah.
You see, I look at this photo and I think to myself, I didn't know that Harry Kane was a sailor. So that's an added bonus as an Arsenal fan.
Do you still have that scarf, Fatty?
You didn't tell me his name.
No.
Matty is ripped in that photo. Look at him.
Look at him.
Wow.
Pretty sexy, Fatty.
Someone's photoshopping there. I think it's my body.
Next one.
Yeah, and so at the time that I met those guys, I had just released my first album, Sport and Wood, under the band name CAC.
Yeah.
And that, had met some reasonable success. And then I joined Sultry Stew, which you can go to the next slide if you like, in a bluegrass band called, I believe, Sultry Stew and the Banjo Assassins. That was a very short-lived stint as a bluegrass player. There's a bit of a mishap during the filming of our first video, and so I wasn't asked to come back to the band. But here's a little video evidence of what happened during the making of our video called Kinfolk. Sultry Stew is the vocalist there, and I'm up on the railing playing guitar.
Catchy. Wow. Slapstick.
That was Nicky Bruce, wasn't it?
Was it Nicky?
Which one?
Oh, I believe that was Tisha Bolter.
Tisha
Bolter.
I really feel like you missed a trick not going with the band name Deliverance on that one. But beautiful. Was everyone okay in the making of that video?
A little concussed for a while, but otherwise fine. Yeah.
A lot of foreshadowing on the Nessmans.
Nothing that more drugs don't fix.
All right.
Right.
Well, we're stuck in
Time.
we're stuck in a loop. Of
So nice to split twice.
There we go.
Want to do some more Tiffany?
Let's hit that first song again.
So yeah, T. Roy and Jill's brother may want to join me on the rest of these here. Bushwhackers was a forestry crew that we had back in the day, and there were a few LWO members there.
Right.
God, that's beautiful.
And this was the first time I met Brent. Is the first day at work. We picked him up in the Suburban and started owning a company together.
Is it after you bloom or before you bloom?
My balloons, Fatty. My balloons.
Yeah. It had to go the other way. Yeah, that's how Brent got the job. But you know,
That's great. I haven't seen that picture. That's fantastic. There's a lot of legends in that photo too.
There
that I
is.
see.
Yeah.
There's
Part-time.
a lot of-
Mac Daddy, Hollywood, Monty there. On the
Isn't
left.
it funny? Remember, like the day to day was great, but also just terrible, right? But I look back on it so fondly.
Rob Reed there, next to Craig. And Rob Reed played with us 1 or 2 gigs, I believe.
Yep.
One hell of a guitar player.
Yeah. Hideaway Pub.
By the way, yeah.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Was Beckner ever then with you? Was Mike Beckner ever then the Bushwhackers?
He's right.
He's right on the far right.
He's on the far
Okay.
side. He was
Okay.
not just was he one of the bushwhackers. He was a champion
Oh, I
bushwhacker.
bet.
He was a machine, like Olympian bushwhacker.
Yep. He might be watching tonight. He might be watching tonight. Shout out. There you go.
That'd be
Very
great.
nice.
Jarf
Very
was a
nice.
bushwhacker too. Just
He was.
right yeah, part-time bushwhacker.
You're lazy. He's a lazy.
That Mac Daddy on the far left, isn't it?
It is. Yep.
In the shadows.
Next to Hollywood with his
Sort of.
large brush saw.
Yeah.
And Max brought this up before, maybe even in our very first episode, about how a number of us at that time were working together. We were playing soccer together. Like, we didn't get sick of each other, but we spent a lot of time together.
We'd work for 12 hours and then come back and play a game of soccer.
Was that 96, boys? I think that's 96, right?
That feels about right, Koski.
I think Shitty was the vehicle behind us there. Isn't that Shitty?
Oh, what a beautiful vehicle that was.
A great car, Shitty.
Mm-hmm.
I really do have some great memories there. I don't think I could possibly survive it if you put me back there again, but I have some great memories.
It was a brutal job. There's no question about it.
Hey, can I ask a question about that? Was there a time when Luke Grinner, I believe it was Luke Grinner and Kosmecki, drank for 10 days straight or something like that? Was
Billy and
That was
Grinder.
me.
Billy.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good for you. What was it? What was it exactly?
It was just 10 days, which
That's not-
is pretty small potatoes these days. But it was the first 10-day drunken stint that we had done.
So you had to get drunk every night.
Like,
Yeah.
had to be hammered.
Yeah.
You had to be hammered. That was the key.
Well, back in those days, there was always an
No.
excuse. There was, somebody's party one night and hanging out with the boys after the soccer game the other night. And then, so there were only a couple of days within that 10 days that we had to sort of force ourselves to
Right.
drink.
What is it? Was it a bet? Is that what it was?
No, it was just
No,
like,
it was just a
let's see
personal
if we can
challenge,
do it.
trying to get the most
Oh,
out of themselves.
Yeah.
Those were the good old days, Yeah, you really pushed yourself.
Yeah. Well, Scully's done an Ironman and he did a 10-day binge. I don't know which one's more impressive.
Let's
Especially because we picked, it would be like 5 something when we'd be meeting up in the morning.
Yeah,
good.
right.
Let's keep this
Dalek
show
another
moving.
former.
Well, he'll be in the next slide. Dalek.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dalek
let's give
and
it,
Mac
let's
Daddy
give it the next
and
one,
Monty.
guys. Kissy face, by the way. There's a lot of kissy face.
Well,
by
kissy
legends
Yeah, well,
over
we
here.
were,
Yeah.
rock
Oh,
stars
look
in the
at that.
making
All
there.
right, look at that.
And there's Dolly and Mac Daddy on the left, and a young Monty.
What's Monty
Having
doing in
a
the
little dip.
Let's
Rich-
not talk about that party. That's one to brush over.
And next. We'll talk about that after hours. That's an after hours one.
Let's talk about Rap Attack next.
Oh, yes. Love of my
Oh,
life.
look at the
And
hair.
so in those early days in Bushwhackers, I think we sort of formed a little bit of a band, maybe played a few times, and then we all went to Rap Attack, and that's where the band really sort of ramped up a little bit.
That's
So
an awesome
I had to
photo.
go through my rappel training in order to rejoin the band.
This is true.
Yeah. He was a year late. He came a year later.
Yeah,
2 years? A year late.
a year late.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's me and who's that? I can't even see that. I gotta take my
That's me.
Billy.
Oh, that's you.
Only known you for like 20 years. Don't worry about it.
You guys really are playing the old rock star part well here.
Before the mullet.
Who's not relevant?
Unfortunately, that was considered.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kidney
So
face.
this was pre-sultry stew, of course.
You guys used that for the Steamers one right here.
Yeah.
That was a Live and Dirty album.
So hot.
Yeah.
So hot. Good call, Koski. Yeah.
Front cover of our Live and Dirty album.
Look at the hippies got the Birkenstocks on there. Eh?
Yeah, of course he does. Yeah. I mean,
Always
he
does.
brought him back from India.
Yeah.
Probably $250 a pair for sure. And that's in 99 or 2000 or whatever it was.
Yeah, it costs a lot to be a hippie these days.
Especially to look good as a hippie. That's the key.
Well, yeah.
He was secretively good looking, and the chicks just loved him. They still do. But
Pheromones flying. He had a lot of good pheromones happening.
I mean, you look what he got. He got
Taken, ladies.
Surprise. Ali, tell it to Ali.
Oh, sorry.
That's good.
So this is where a lot of the
magic,
Nessman magic time happened. This is
Rocky Mountain House.
Rocky Mountain House. Your guys' little abode there.
Oh, you guys took stuff on the road.
Hey?
Fatty, you should talk about this little cabin. Me and you spent a lot of time there. And
I was this was mine and Dave Charlie's cabin before for a year before that, 2 years before that.
This is at the Rap Attack base.
That's right. And then Koski moved in, and we were roommates for a couple of years there, weren't we? Was it 2 years?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Felt like that.
Yeah. So we would come back after the bar on a Friday, Saturday night from the live wire. And much to the chagrin of our neighbors, which were very close to us, which were like within 30, 40 feet, we'd set up. And it's amazing this thing had enough electricity to amp it up. But we jammed out for hours after the bar, many Friday, Saturday night. And nobody ever came over and told us to shut up. We would just keep playing. And they'd come in, and we'd give them a drink, and then they'd be part of it. And it was fantastic. It was like
that's a generally good time on that.
The vortex of good times. Yeah. A lot of the stuff the Nessmans came up with came from that cabin. It was like I'm not sure what the great studios of the world are. Abbey Road, maybe. I would equate that to Abbey Road of yeah.
And to this day, these guys, Holla, are the guys that, like, if the party is going and sometimes to their own demise, they see it through to the bitter end. So
no matter good or bad it's going.
Yeah. That picture of Maddie looks familiar.
Yeah, it's a very comfortable pose for Fatty.
That one's photoshopped, right? That one's a Photoshop.
Yeah, we put a microphone in there. Yeah.
Where did Harry
wanted them
King
to seem
go?
professional.
That doesn't look legit.
No, no. Again, that body. Who would think that a guy's that ripped?
It feels like on
pretty
that,
nice nipples too.
Yeah,
Really.
it feels like on that note, I've got to just wrestle this back, just a little, guys. Good energy, good energy. I can tell that you're perennial entertainers, of course, but I feel like on this slide, okay, because we're kind of glossing over some stuff here, and this is the danger with a PowerPoint or in this case a Google Slides. I mean, great photos, great history. But I want to back up the bus because we're not quite hearing from everyone. And Spilly, I think you've done a great job here. We got lots of slides to go, but this is we're witnessing, chat. We're witnessing the genesis of what can truly be called a great band, a historic band. And so I don't want to skip over this too much. I want to actually hear, you guys get together. You kind of glossed over the fact that Spilly had to join Rap Attack to get back in the band. But how does it really start? Like we've established that you're all in the same area. We can see pictures. You guys are playing instruments, but maybe Koski, I want to come to you. I'm going to come to you on this one, Koski.
All right. How
does it start? Like, is it like, I've never been in a band, obviously, but is it like, when you have your first girlfriend and you're just kind of going out and then you have the talk and then your boyfriend, girlfriend? Like, is it like that? You have the talk and then you're one of the world's greatest bands? How does it start? Like, how does this happen?
I would say it was almost a two-step process for us. It was, and my recollection is it really, the seeds were planted was back at the Glen Eden house that my sisters and I bought back in late 96. And in 97, where whatever reason, me, Matt, and and or I should say Fatty and Rich, or Bitch, I should say, were in Salmon Arm for that winter. And we all decided, I was living with my sister at the time. That's why I'm Jill's brother. And we decided we should throw a space party. And that time, I think at that point, maybe we had an odd jam, me and Bitch and maybe Fatty. I don't know if, had you played anything at that point, Fatty? I don't know if you'd even played the drums yet. Or much.
Well, we played in your barn, I think.
Okay.
I can't, it's foggy.
Yeah, it's around this time. There's a bit of some dabbling going on for sure, and then nothing really organized. And then somewhere along that way, we decided there's a space party we decided to have in sort of the winter of '97. And then the three of us, for whatever reason, didn't dress up as space people at all. We went to the thrift shop and ended up in sort of these pastel suits and whatnot, and then ended up becoming the whole Nessman thing, and had a great jam session that night, and it was just sort of an ad-lib-y, drunk session.
I thought, we were going to be the band for this space party, and of course we all dressed up in different suits, and then we thought, well, we need a name for our band, and these 70s suits reminded Fatty of Les Nessman from WKRP in Cincinnati, right. So the Nessmans was born.
Well, can I add something to that?
Please do.
Absolutely. Troy came in the room. He said they want to know your name. What do I call you guys? And then we all, I think, came upon, we looked like the last Nessman, but we looked like kind of gay because we were
like happy.
Yeah, happy, gay. So Troy said, "What should I call you?" And he said, "The Gay Nessmans." And so he went on and introduced us as the Gay Nessmans.
Right.
I don't know what songs we played. We couldn't have had very many songs that night.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
A couple Tiffany covers.
Tiffany. Who's Tiffany?
Didn't play Home for Arrest. I'll tell you that much.
Hold that thought. How like Fatty? How many songs had you played together? Like, had you just been doing these jam sessions up until now? Like, what's the story here?
You know what? Like Going Down for sure, and then Gumballs.
I think Gumball was inspired one night by having a jam session at Jill's brother's house, and there was a gumball machine. And that was the inspiration. Right. Fatty got on the microphone.
It might have been that night, actually, the '97 party, that space party. We had a gumball machine, and of course, as you do, you just looked around the room for inspiration. There was a gumball machine, and then Fatty took it away with some great ad-lib gumball. And I don't think that song actually, the beauty of that song, there actually is no lyrics to it. It's just
made up every time.
Which
as long as you say gumball.
And a recorded version of it. Maddie says something about like, "Give you all my money, me and Donald Trump." I mean, he was ahead of the curve.
Did you really say that?
Wow.
I didn't even know that. That's
cool. I didn't know that either.
World's most generous man, Donald Trump.
I don't want to get in trouble here on LWO.
And sometimes if we play that song around Christmas time, it's called Rum Balls.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, it's true. It's true.
It's simultaneously the hardest and easiest song to remember.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure. There is a lot of pressure for that song because they expect something new. And you know what? There's not a lot of new shit floating around in here. So yeah, it's
it's dynamite.
It is dynamite. It is one of my absolute favorites.
Space Party happens, guys.
Yeah.
You're dubbed at the time the Gay Nessmans, now the Nessmans. Like, is it that night that you're like, hey, you know what? We are the Nessmans. Do you really feel it, or is it some point after the fact?
My recollection now, and Bitch, you can help me out on this one, but my recollection then, so that sort of happens, and then Rich or Bitch decides to go to Nelson to go to music school. Not right after that, isn't it? Like 97, 98. When did you go to Nelson for music school?
Yeah, we were still doing Bushwhackers, and 97, 98.
Yeah. So then he actually gets to know how to play an instrument because none of us did at that point. That was a key piece that we were just kind of drunk and trying to like out sing our instruments, and then he actually gets to be good at it. So to this day he's become the band leader, as I think Fatty would admit.
Amen.
Truth be known, and probably does. I'm sure it doesn't show on stage, but he clearly is the ringleader as far as organizing. Like I remember literally showing each one of us, for especially the Victoria gigs in the early days, how to play. He'd actually grab the guitar, show you how to play. Brent, this is what you're actually doing, and then I'd try to copy him, and then he'd go to Maddie on the drums. Maddie would like, okay, yeah, and then of course we wouldn't be quite as good, but we'd try to get there.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Darcy actually did have his own thing. Darcy didn't actually.
He did.
He could kind of do his own thing. He was the one guy.
So these guys joined Rap Attack a
and a
year
guitar.
before me. Met the Wealthy Hippie, and they had their own little trio going there on the bass, I think. And then when I joined the next year and passed my rappel training, I was invited back into the band.
I have a feeling Maddie's going to chime in here and maybe even contradict you, Billy.
Well, that's okay.
Because the first year we were in that stupid Ranger tent, and we didn't have the wherewithal or we didn't have Rocky Mountain. So I
No, we didn't.
But I remember you guys telling me about Luke Mohawk, the Wealthy Hippie, and had lots of good things to say about him.
Yeah.
And how talented he was.
Me and W did have
Handsome,
we had some jam sessions in '99, but it was that kind of the same as '97, where it was pretty loosey goosey. And then Bitch shows up in 2000, and that's when I felt like we can finally kind of have like an organized group of guys because of
I mean, truth be told, and this is no word of lie, he carried the band. There's no doubt about it. He was the backbone. He told us chord changes we got to do, and I didn't care about chord changes myself because I was a drummer. But he really did. I mean, we didn't know anything about music.
But you tried chord changes on the drums, which I thought was unique at the time. Like
or the triangle, or cowbell.
And the funny thing is, once we became a 4-person band, we still only had enough instruments for 3 people.
That's right.
So so sometimes one guy would have to sit out or grab a cowbell or something like that.
I think that's where the stuff comes in with the vocals and whatnot. I mean, you had to chime in somehow. You want to be involved.
Yeah.
So that's where we became like a fish. Like became not the band, not the fish.
Right.
Well, then Rap Attack, they wanted us to do a gig. I remember that was a big thing. That was the pressure. And I think that's what actually changed things. Holla, to answer your question after 20 minutes here. that is basically is that they're like, hey, you guys, we heard you jamming in Rocky Mountain House. Why don't you do we're having a party Thursday, Friday night. Why don't you guys be like the band for the night, and then we'll head off to the live bar. And then we're like, oh shit, we have 2 songs. And then I remember thinking, okay, all of us were kind of, holy shit, we need to make some songs up. And I remember there was 1 week in probably 2000 where we had to write I think we did 8 or 10 songs in a week. And it was and we're not good musicians. This is just sort of guys trying. And so I remember literally during work hours, I was sneaking off into a back room where the sewing machine was. Remember that little sewing machine in that back room in the equipment room? And you're trying to hammer out some lyrics. And then we were like, okay, Darcy, you got 3 songs, write the lyrics. Matt, Fatty, you got 3. Bitch was like that.
That's what it was. We had to go away and write 3 songs and come back with them. That was the thing. I remember that clearly.
I remember it was Monday and we're playing on Thursday, and you're like, oh my god, how am I gonna even remember the lyrics? And we don't know what the hell we're doing.
And those early songs were inspired by firefighting. So
Yep.
we had No Smoking in the Fuel Shed or a reggae tune. What else did we have? It's Getting Hot in Here.
Been go.
Bass change. We had bass change.
Put a little bass in the bass change. Yeah.
Some of the early stuff is absolute gold, just gold. Oh.
Levi's asking who wrote SDD. I believe that was me and Fatty sitting around.
That was a one-take wonder, was it not? That kind of happened in one shot. I remember walking into the Rocky Mountains, you guys were jamming, and it was you guys were like, hey, I got a song. And it was Fatty just kind of knocked it out in one go, I think, basically.
Yeah, that was, Rich did the sort of the 50s sort of.
Totally.
Guitar. Yeah.
It has that feel, right?
Yeah.
It's how Pearl Jam sort of did Last Kiss, and it tried to capture that old feel. STD's got that same feel.
STD, Woe Is Me, It Hurts to Pee.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a love song, isn't it?
Really? Yeah.
Can I say the one thing about that song was that every gig I did that had Mac and Troy there, because I couldn't remember the words for shit for any of my songs.
Yeah, that's true.
Mac and T-Roy would be actually, for instance, for the Crabs one, they'd be scratching their nuts.
I remember just doing that anyway. We were just
But they'd be cueing me as to what the next verse was, which was nice.
I remember that Particulate Steamers, our first kind of real gigs in Victoria, where we're crapping our pants going, oh my God, this is actually a real gig. And we can't, it's overwhelming because you have a week and a half to try to remember 25 songs, and we just are way over our heads. And it's tough to remember lyrics when you're kind of trying, suddenly in front of a crowd, you've never really done it, and you're trying to hammer out 25 songs in a week and a half and remember all the lyrics and the chord changes, what you're doing, especially chord changes on the drums. and then to actually remember the lyrics. And Mac and T were always in that front, sort of like there to cue you in case, because somehow you guys knew the lyrics better than we did.
Yeah.
And it would kind of like, boys, this is the direction to go. And it was
well, it's always easier to sing along than it is to sing, right? Like, you know, it's, you know, you hear that song on the radio and you can sing along, but you turn that song off, like, and you have to sing it yourself. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
So
I definitely mumbled through a couple verses in those days. That's for sure.
I like it, boys.
And back to Rap Attack a little bit. There, most or a lot of the jam sessions or the songs were kind of created at lunchtime. We'd go back to Rocky Mountain House and have jam sessions. We'd quickly scarf down our lunches and get in a half-hour jam session.
Yep.
But then we went diligently back to work. We have strong work ethic.
Yep.
But it was our lunch times were quite productive with
I will
music.
say one of those sessions we had in the triple wide. Shout out to our boss there, Mark Daly, fella. Came up. We played Jumpin' Jack Flash with who's the helicopter pilot? Fudger. Sean Fudger.
Right.
And Mark Daly came up and knew every word, it was impeccable the way he did Jumpin' Jack Flash.
With
he played that.
Well, he's huge Stones, isn't he, Koski?
He's diehard. Like, yeah, honestly, he was the first guy I met where he might have been more diehard than I was. And I was like, we'd spend hours talking about the Grand Slam of the Stones from the, you know, the whole Beggars Banquet onward.
Oh, dude, I can only imagine if people weren't quite as into the Stones, to hear the two of you probably just drove them fucking mental.
Yeah, it was. Nobody else ever joined our conversations. It was definitely the two of us only for several
He's
hours.
a great guy. Mark's a great guy.
Mark's amazing. He's the best.
Join in like that was unbelievable, and it was just ad lib. He just came up and sang.
Yeah,
and, it was like we had rehearsed it forever. It was
the lips and the whole, you know, the mic and the whole.
Yeah,
you just had. Yeah.
I love it, boys. Listen, I like how you guys have set the table here, because, you know, the Beatles famously went to Germany to cut their teeth. You boys fought fires out of helicopters. So I mean, there's really no comparison. I don't know why I even said that. I'm losing my touch, legends, here as the host of LWO Radio. But you know, you put in the hard work, you put in the hard hours. I gotta ask, like, early on, stylistically, is there a big change in your sound, or is it like, you know what, once you hit the Nessmans, you're like, from 97, you're like, other than sort of tightening up the chords that Spilly asked you guys to do, does the sound, does the type of music change in the early years?
T-Roy should probably take this one, because you probably know better than we do. I would say no. Sometimes you're playing it, you don't remember what you're doing. You're just kind of playing stuff.
Well, like, you have some stuff from the early days that, you know, a couple of the songs you're basically playing the same music and you throw different lyrics over top of it, right? So there's, like, you know, but then there is an added level of like sophistication as you move along. And then we've already talked some, but you bring Sharf in, and that changes. Like,
that changed our sound for sure.
Yeah.
But and early songs were about firefighting, and then we expanded into
circumcision.
Others.
That's a true story, but
yeah.
We really got
other deep topics like circumcision.
Yeah, it's relevant.
But real, right? It's real. It's real life.
Yeah.
Like who?
Yeah.
You know, I've been circumcised. I don't remember it, but I've been circumcised.
Yeah, I would say spanning the genres, though. I don't know any band who span as many genres as we have. We got rock and roll, disco, funk, reggae. I don't know what. Oh, we got
that cowpoke song. Cowpoke.
Yeah, we got some country.
Country.
Yeah, we got a dance tune. We've got some like 80s ballads. We've got a British ballad song.
Yep. Yeah, microphone
and then you sort of
itself
branched out
is
into like a bit of Weird Al, sort of like Koski's sort of hitting the Weird Al side of things a bit lately.
Yeah, definitely.
80s, Kelly Vincent saying 80s. Well, you also have that sort of like funk rap, like Microphone, the theme song of LWO Radio. Like that one's got a unique sound all to itself.
Interestingly, we'll get to some studio photos later on, but we had a guest female vocalist for that song. She's in the background of that song, and she specifically requested not to be credited on the song.
Oh,
on Microphone.
Yeah, well, just to be associated with the Nessmans.
That's high praise, hey?
Yeah.
Like that's
High
high
praise.
praise.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
She had a brand, and we weren't going to be part of that.
She was a professional musician and didn't want to be associated.
She just
with the
knew she
Nessmans.
didn't quite meet your standard, right? Like something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way I
Moving
took
on,
it too.
moving
but,
on.
Yeah.
I'm starting to hear the dings. It must mean that one of you guys is in the Chicks with Balls group chat. So that's good. But listen, let's move on. We have some more photos to share. But as we get into the next photos, and I apologize because I did miss one right at the end here before we got into our next part. So let me go fire that sucker up here. Because we already saw this one, but of course there was this one too.
Yes,
Oh,
that's
what's
the big
this one?
thing. The addition of
Oh.
Sultry Stew.
Okay.
A guy with talent, a guy who knew how to play his instrument. That was a big difference to our band there.
The
Well,
big
you know
Barry still there.
I was going to say, I think as far as Patrick Benson goes, that legitimized us as a band right there, having some horns in there. And that for me was very satisfying. That Patrick Benson actually saw us as a band.
He's a big deal. He's a big deal in the shoe shop, and
That's
it's nice.
Dick Benson's dad didn't think too much of us at the start, but when we got a saxophone player, I think he came around. And
he liked the music beforehand and after. He did comment that there were grade 7 lyrics, which I thought was high praise because I thought we were shooting at grade 5.
Yeah,
I love it. Okay, so listen, we've established the band. We've got the band. It's Nessmans. You've got all your members now. I think the next section's about touring, but I think it's sort of like the chicken and egg. Like, do you hit the studio first?
No way.
Okay, you just straight into the tour.
right into the tour with no.
You record a few rehearsals is what you do,
Okay, let's jump into the tour then.
and then you sell those CDs. So that's it's not the exact Barth, but it's called Barth.
I couldn't tell.
It's a brand of RV, and my brother had one, and he named it the Barth.
Nice.
Yeah, great machine. And we decided to go on tour one day. We thought, well, we've bought some more instruments. We've made it big within the Rap Attack scene, within 50 people that we know.
Yeah.
So surely we're ready for a tour. Didn't have a PR person, manager, booking agent. So we just thought, well, we've got a van though. We've got our instruments. Let's jump in the van. Let's drive to Victoria and play gigs. And so that's what we did. And we didn't have any gigs lined up, but that didn't stop us.
No, you went for it. I like the drive. I like the drive there.
Now, can I say something about that? I think actually the is it our first or second tour? The van that Barth didn't have brakes going down the Coquihalla.
True story, yeah.
Yeah, and we made it to
Red
Hope.
Flintstone it the whole way.
Yeah, we made it to Hope because that's the biggest downhill.
The brakes ran out at the summit of the Coquihalla.
Yeah. I mean, that's ballsy. You want to make it? That's the shit you got to go through, right?
That's like I'm surprised this didn't end up like a big bopper.
So
plane incident here. I mean, that's you guys.
so we
certain death.
Yeah, we geared down. We made it down to Hope. They couldn't fix it straight away, so we had to overnight in Hope at the garage. So they plugged us in at the garage overnight. We slept in the bar.
That was the first stop of the tour. You played a gig there, didn't you?
Yeah. And we watched some adult films that night, and then got it fixed the next day and continued on to Victoria.
That's right.
And here we are in Victoria, just outside of T. Roy's house, and we couldn't find a place to park. We originally tried parking, and everyone kicked us out. So we found this old parking lot near T. Roy's place. But one of the difficulties was that we had to take turns at 6 o'clock in the morning plugging in the parking meter for the day before we got a ticket.
Right. You had to have a bunch of quarters out. So I remember it was like good $15-20 of quarters. And it was, you had to walk into a shop every day and ask for like a $20 and change. And
it was good practice for Spilly for his next time living in Victoria, where he was parking on the street and plugging the meter multiple times a day. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I owned a house then too, but yeah, and then so I enjoy this picture. Like I like Brent's effects pedal there, and totally not plugged into his acoustic guitar. And you may see a couple of pee stains on the ground. One by my feet, and I think another one by the front right tire there, just behind Brent.
Right.
Don't know where those came from.
No, I don't know why that.
there's a homeless problem in Victoria. Probably wasn't you guys.
Right. Yeah.
I like the thing about this episode that really tells you a specific era is the wide leg pants. You know, that's a circa 2000, maybe 2002. I got the dig.
I'm sort of working / finishing up school. So, and these bastards are all staying at my place for a long time. I was living the dream. I can remember like sometimes at, AM hours coming out and being like, get out to Barth. I got to wake up at 7 a.m. or whatever. And
Fatty, did you take this photo? You're not in either of these last two photos, but you're involved in this state.
Well, I think Sultry
Yeah.
Stu was also I think staying at T. Roy's place, so he may have taken that.
Yeah.
So is this the time? Now I don't know if I want to get into this now, but is this the time that we made the album cover? We had the shots of the album cover, and we never got the pictures from the.
It was
the same tour, yeah.
Same tour, yeah.
We hit the beach and we spent hours, and it was like black and white. It was supposed to be, and I don't know whatever happened to those shots. Do you?
A girl that he had sequestered a girl to come down and take photos of us for an album cover, and so we went down to Dallas Road and took some shots on the beach, and these shots were supposed to be black and white, very tasteful, very artistic, and we never saw them again. How much did they cost us? $250 or something like that. We never saw a negative. We didn't see anything.
No, I think Sultry Stu has the original photos.
Oh, okay.
But we haven't seen them.
No, never seen them.
It's basically like investing with Brent. You don't. It's not a lot of payoff.
Money well spent, gentlemen. Speaking of Brent, he's
for the experience.
He's taking a whiz.
Were we jamming at some point in time in somebody's house down in Victoria in this little back room? This little.
We were, yeah, a buddy of, I think, was it where you used to live, or a guy that you used to live with, or something, or a buddy of Jer's, or something?
A buddy of Sharf's. Oh.
And it was down in the basement, and it was like a 15-foot by 5-foot.
That's right.
Basement closet.
Yep.
That we jammed in for 3 weeks or something. We had 3 hours a day when nobody was in the house that we were allowed to practice.
Yeah.
There was enough oxygen for maybe 2 hours of practice.
Not enough deodorant.
but we had to practice for these gigs that we didn't yet have for the tour that we were on.
That's right.
Are we going to talk about like those Steamers gigs though? Were awesome, guys. Like they were awesome.
Those Steamers gigs and the Logans were my favorite gigs.
Yeah, exactly, man. They were so good. They were so good. It was Nessmans in your prime.
That was fun. You're right. But you guys made it though, T-Money, because it was like we had all the homers in the crowd. It just made it it was just a big party basically.
Well, you kind of did, but there was other people that didn't know you, but maybe there was enough of us that did know you. But I mean, I had a blast. Like those were so good. Like I can vividly remember them, like being there with Mac and Shaw, and Polis would have been there, and it was like Mike Perry was definitely at some of them. It was just like awesome. It was so good.
Yeah. I think Koski, you're being called out in the chat here a little bit.
Yeah, I don't might have the wrong person there. I'm not sure.
It wasn't his current GF.
Doesn't sound like me.
Jill's got another brother, Craig.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
probably Craig. If you're watching, which he probably not, but if you are.
All right, listen. Let's get.
I think we'll get to Logan's and stuff.
We will. What's the story with this? I thought it was vinyl when I first looked at it.
Yeah, it looks like vinyl. Good, yeah.
This was a money saver, would you say, Bitch? Was it sort of we had a tight budget back in the day, and this was kind of our.
We did. This was sort of a business decision.
Yeah.
So we thought, I don't know. I think at this point in time, we got a gig. So through Sultry Stu's connections, we got a gig at Steamers, and in fact, not just one gig, but 2 gigs within a week.
Yeah.
And so we thought, okay, we've hit the big time, boys. We need some merch. And so we thought, well, we'll sell a bunch of our CDs. Well, a bunch of our CDs were recordings that we had at the Rap Base. And we were sort of living outside Troy's house in the Barth. So we didn't really have a lot of equipment or anything to mass produce these, and nor did we have a budget. So we went to Staples to buy some CDs and found out, okay, well, if we buy these blank CDs, we're going to have to put labels on them. We're going to put the Nessmans. It's going to be a lot. We're going to go through like a lot of like printer ink and stuff. Like it's going to be a big hassle. These look kind of cool, these CDs. They look like vinyl, but they say verbatim. What do you think? Maybe we should just be changing our name to Verbatim.
Yeah.
It seemed like an easy fix.
Yeah.
First album called Digital Vinyl CDR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
the
exactly.
second one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Nice.
was our first album.
First song called
Digital
700.
Vinyl CDR.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I remember as we were trying to purchase, when we were looking at this, we were like, Sultry Stu was looking at it. He's like, "Oh yeah, I've got pretty good penmanship. I could write the the Nessmans underneath." But in the end, we bought some blank CDs, put some stickers on them, and then when we played our gig, we immediately sold these blank CDs, thinking that they were recorded, but they totally weren't. And I think one of Fatty's buddies.
He's a really nice guy, by the way. He didn't get too upset about it.
They were all blank. Were they all blank?
A few of them were, I think.
I think you burnt them on my computers, Billy. I think you burnt them on my computer in Victoria.
Yeah, and it was at it's the time when CD writers could burn 4 times speed tops.
Yeah, totally.
So it was a long process to do. So we may have missed a few CDs in the process and just thrown a label on them without actually burning them.
Fatty,
put them in a nice cover.
What's your story on this? I mean, I heard this last night, but you gotta tell me.
Looking back, nowadays they call this double layered advertising or marketing, triple layered marketing. I don't know if you heard of it. So the double layer is that you buy something and you really don't know what you're getting. I mean, it's a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
In this occasion, you buy the CD and you put it in your CD player, and you can either be elated that you get what you paid for, or you can be confused and angry with what you got.
Right.
So that's a double layer. So if you can
Always an emotional experience when you listen to the Nessmans.
well, it brings you back to the concert, because most of the people at our concerts were confused and angry.
Yeah.
So they get that feeling again of being at the concert, which is essentially elation. But a friend of mine was driving a limo at the time, guy I played hockey with, driving a limo, and he hadn't played the CD yet, bought the CD and put it in. He goes, "Hey, you got to listen to my friends. These are my buddies. I went and listened to them the other night. They're called the Nessmans. Listen to this shit." Put in the CD, and it was nothing.
But it was kind of a pleasant surprise, right? Like you've been at the gig.
Yeah, it sounded way better than the actual CD.
Sure did.
It was so calming.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the Nessmans experimental album.
That's right.
Yeah.
You hear Scotty in the background.
Just do an ASMR. I love it.
Oh.
We're missing that, Scotty. I know you're watching. We're missing
But
that.
I'll tell you, if anyone's getting those verbatim CDs with nothing on them out there that say the Nessmans on them, put them on eBay because they're worth something.
That's
Yeah,
true.
collector's items for sure.
Yeah.
I can believe that.
All right. We got a few venues here, I think. And
That's
before,
Moxie.
before you say this, I love seeing this photo. If this is 0203, Holla's taken his Mrs. Holla on our first date to this exact locale. So
Oh,
Wow.
that's
a little
awesome.
tie and a little bit of
I guessed the
LWO,
wrong
radio
location.
trivia.
Huh?
There you go. I had my birthday there in 03, and she came out, and I told her about it. I said, "Oh, I saw this photo of Moxie's. Remember that?" And she's like, "Yeah." So good news for Holla.
Sweet.
Kelster.
It's not all about me.
was-
We could do another episode just on me at some other point.
Definitely a whole season.
A whole
Yeah.
season.
Man.
What's the deal with this in the
Good news for Holla, but bad news for the Nessmans.
Oh.
This was at a low point in our career. We had been practicing in a 5 by 10 foot basement closet for 3 weeks without any gigs.
Yeah.
And and we thought, this is futile. We've gone on tour, we've got the Barth, we've driven to Victoria. How come nobody's giving us any gigs?
Right.
And we went to Moxie's for a lunchtime band meeting, and it was a dark meeting where basically it was going to be the end of the Nessmans.
It was, yeah.
We were talking about, breaking up.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, true story.
It's been like 2 weeks, T-Money. You got to realize it's been 2 weeks, which is not a lot of time. That's how determined we were.
When you see that kind of early success, you just expect it to keep going.
The first week we felt good, week and a half still going strong, and then 2 weeks we just hit a wall. It was like, I don't know.
I actually remember hitting that wall when you were all living with me for that time.
That's a true story. We didn't think we were done at that point. It was 2 weeks in, and we're like, yeah, this isn't going to work.
We were kind of millennials before our time. We just felt like we deserved to be famous after practicing in a basement for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
All the Coke was gone.
I like it because
You're onto the Diet Coke.
It's like any other band, or not any other band, but the great bands have this. They have this cycle that they follow, right? They come in and they're just full of energy, and then they hit that low point. But great bands, that low point, it makes them better, right? And maybe this, not to put words in your mouth, guys, but maybe this is the second birth of the Nessmans, this low point, because what comes next, I mean, it's pretty amazing, is it not? Like, I mean,
please tell us more about it.
You guys hit some heights.
Are we talking? Are we talking about the Jello
Nessmans here?
gig? Is this the Jello gig that we're talking about?
Well, look at this.
There it is. I think that was our first gig, was it not?
Yeah, too.
Yeah, open for Stacy Black.
Yeah,
I remember you opened for one, and then you were the main act on the second one, weren't you?
Yeah, we opened, and Cozy Bones was another one that we played with later on.
They didn't like us very much either. I remember that.
They gave you some free drinks at the Steamers too, I remember, and that seemed like a big deal at the time.
Yeah, you get like a case of beer between the 5 of us or whatever.
You guys put me and Mac on I got in for free. I probably saved, just like the live bar, I probably saved $2.
Yeah. And then they paid us so much that it paid for half of our parking ticket for as we were unloading our gear at Steamers, and got a parking ticket.
Yeah.
Didn't we leave our stuff there? We got so drunk and we forgot our shit there, and half of it.
There was a couple mic stands that night, I think.
Well, that was probably the next day. After.
If I'm not, you guys did a lot of gigs over the years, obviously, and you lost a lot of money in those gigs for sure. And if I'm right, where a lot of bands have suffered during COVID, I mean, it's really been economically like a really good thing for you guys, eh?
I think that's something that doesn't get talked about enough, actually, Troy.
Yeah. Our Nessman stock is skyrocketing right now.
I'm going to say this. You guys wanted me to expand on the heights of the Nessmans. I'm telling you right now, there's no fucking chance this show ever hosts Stacy Black. All right.
That Barbie doll.
That argument is settled. Okay. So you might have opened for her, but now you're closing for her.
Yeah.
So fantastic, boys, and of course, lovable Logan's there.
Well, I think that
probably one of our biggest gigs.
Yeah.
That was a fun one, actually. I remember that might be the funnest one we ever did. Is Logan. I enjoyed that one.
2005 or 6?
Don't know.
2005.
Okay.
And K-Man, I think you might have a story about just sort of sound check and stuff.
Yeah.
In between the sound check and then performing, you went into the bathroom and just saw something funny there.
Oh, this kind of ties a bit into Matt's soup story from the top of the show, with sort of keeping the bowel movements consistent. But I go in there, you got the nerves. You're just how many beers should I have before we start? We're not that good. I can't have more than 4. I'm like all processing that kind of stuff. And as I walk in, turns out Logan's and probably locals knew that era that the shitters didn't have doors on them. And so turns out, and anybody knows Sultry Stu, he's a class act the whole way. Like if it's Fatty or Bitch or me, then it'd been, this is not even a story. This is just, okay, they're just taking a shit. Sultry Stu is like there with his pants down around his ankles, and there's no door, and he's having a full-on like philosophical conversation with a guy taking a leak in a urinal. And I think it was about Russian history because that was his background. And I think
Oh yeah, of course.
and there's some Russian going on. It was a whole mixed bag, way beyond my pay grade for sure. And it was just, I don't know, there was something special about that because even with Sharfie with his pants around his ankles, getting ready for the show, still there was something classy about it with him. Like, I don't think most guys could pull that off. And I think that might've been one of his best nights, actually, when I think about it in hindsight. He was on, and he made a sound check. Well.
I think he's just playing guilty because he made us late. We started late for him.
True, that's also true. That is a yeah.
I see a CBGB story. What's that CBGB story? I don't know that one. Did you guys see that?
What does CBGB mean?
I don't know. Mike Sharf just put it up there. CBGB story.
That's
Isn't it the club in New York
Come
where the
big or
Ramones
go
started?
home. Oh, that's not right.
Yeah. Well, he'll have to explain that in the chat because there's no way I know what the story is.
Ryder Petch says KGB.
I think he's leading us away from the answer on that one.
And, hey, Fatty, Logan's is closed now, right? Is that right?
It is, yeah. It is closed, yeah.
And I think I believe, and I could be wrong, that I went on their Facebook page and said that without the Nessmans and without live music, they just couldn't survive. And so, it's another casualty of
Sounds right.
the Nessmans not being there all the time, right? Like they wanted you guys as the host band.
That's a logical conclusion.
Yeah, they've been waiting for us to come back 15 years later.
You guys killed it there, and I believe you probably still lost a little bit of money all in. Like
no, not that one, not that gig.
That was our most lucrative gig of all, and I remember us, without having a manager, we didn't know what deal we were signing or if the thing, how it was going to work out. But apparently, we got part of the door that night.
Oh, right.
And so they paid us the other night. I think we got like $700 or something. Like that.
Yeah, $100 each, I think.
No, yeah, man, dude. I thought we paid for somebody's gas, and
we did
probably.
I'm just talking like how much did it cost Koski to fly there, and anyway. And if you haven't got at the door, I want $2. You owe me $2.
Yeah,
I have a bit of an explanation on the CBGBs. Sharfie did put in the chat that is New York Punk Club. They hosted the Ramones and Patti Smith and some of the punk scene in New York, but they had no toilet walls, so that was the reference.
Okay.
There you go.
Once again,
thanks, Sharfie.
Way above.
Scary.
Not there, obviously.
Koski, that one's for Gretz.
I gotta ask, in this era, you get up there, you're playing your set. Is there one song from this era that sticks out that really gets the crowd into the Nessmans?
I would say so. In my mind, it's Porn Star.
Nice.
I'm not sure that we had Porn Star ready at that. Maybe we did. Maybe we did.
I don't think you did.
Such confidence.
Sharp, tell us. You know what? Maybe you did because you got Sharp then.
It's possible.
Yeah, it is possible.
I remember. I just remember that Porn Star line where it was a bunch. The lyrics. It was only Bitch Can Do. It was like sort of the intellectual lyrics that Bitch puts in relative to mine are very obvious rhymes. Bitch has a lot more going on.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, but did I mention I'm a porn star, where all of us got to jump in? And I think when people are drinking, it felt good.
Yeah.
I remember, I think that was the first night that we had tried out Wandering Cowpoke, our very country song.
Love that.
And I think that was part of the encore. And I think that went off quite well.
For sure.
I love that. Is one of my absolute favorite. It's like under the radar. I don't even think I have it on any sort of recording, so I need that.
Neither do we.
But I love that song.
Yep. I'll tell you what, the one for me was I Don't Like You.
Right.
That was the one where you slip into that drum beat there. Really gets
I
me.
don't like you.
Yeah, I like that.
Like you.
Yeah. And it's a heavy hitter if you get into it. I like it.
Predator in the chat room, and always, huge Nessmans fan, Levi Cooperman. His favorite in the historically was. Do you guys know? Do any of you know?
Fuck, do you like me? Fuck me. I think
exactly. Fuck me while you fuck me.
Yeah.
I remember Levi's always sort of mentioned that. And to be honest, I think for me personally, that's the one I list. It kind of cooks along that one. I just find
that is a cooker. I like that one. Yeah.
Right? It's kind of a fun, kind of just feel like it's almost a bit out of control almost. It's like, oh my God, this could actually really go badly. But I feel like you're just sort of hanging on in that song. It was probably mostly me, but it's like it's all just me playing power chords because I didn't know how to play actual chords, like actual proper chords back then.
Well, it was before Rock Band, so you hadn't really gotten the chance to practice, right?
Yeah.
And it also just screams radio song. Like you hear it and you just think like that song belongs on the CKXR, right?
Absolutely, big R.
Yeah.
It also, I mean, it speaks to everything. Like we've all experienced that.
Balls in the vice. Like that's
yeah. Yeah. What do you mean by that, Matty?
Well, I mean, we've all been screwed around while we're doing some screwing. I mean, we've all had our hearts broken.
Maddie's been in a lot of threesomes.
Oh yeah, and and in hot tubs where you feel like the shorts are constricting and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
F&A, Cotton. F&A. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, it leaves for a second, eh? We just got to go right there.
I know, we're talking about Logans and other things.
We're going in a rabbit hole.
I don't know what happened while I was gone. And
wow.
You'll see it on the rewatch, Holla.
Yeah.
I feel like that was your opportunity to say all the really bad shit that will get us in trouble.
Missed it.
Of course, we want to talk about some other gigs. So let's keep the show rolling on that. I don't even know what's going on in any of these photos.
That's Robbie Knoll on the right.
Robbie Knoll, yeah, the sexy.
Yeah, that guy. So
we get out of the way.
That's that bass on that guy.
And I see it from Bade in the chat. When we used to head up to August Long, just to link this to LWO, which this episode's not totally about the LWO, but when we would head up for August Long weekend, the Nessmans would be cranking, and we would be just like loving the Nessmans on the way up, and that was like huge for us. And then occasionally, even on August Long weekend, I remember showing up in 2005, and you and Koski, you guys did a gig in your parents' barn in 2005, August Long weekend.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, and that's probably this, because Robbie and Lebs are the first two Bays guys that joined our team in 2005, I think, and so this could be a 2005 photo.
I think that's right. I remember talking to Robbie in that weekend, and he was like obviously a great music guy. And then we're missing, I think, Darcy, obviously, and apparently Matt as well.
Right, and Robbie's bass.
And yeah, he can play anything, I think. And a great singer and all that stuff. And obviously we heard him, was it last week, the week before, but he jumped in and it was just awesome. It was another guy who just can, just make it feel right immediately. Would love to play with Robbie Knoll again.
Yeah, he's like his music is loved by a lot of people except Monty, and Monty doesn't like his music.
Or Holla's look, but
he doesn't like my look. He doesn't like Bobby Knoll's music. I think we're establishing a clear pattern with Monty. That
he doesn't like the Nessmans either.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
I think we will have a photo of T. Roy's brother's house gig coming up, but Monty fell asleep while we were playing. So I'm not sure if he's a big fan of the Nessmans either.
Unbelievable. This is not said photo though.
This is Hideaway Pub.
Right.
And with the Leslie Nezzies, Allie and Sarah.
Right. That's Double D, or the wealthy hippie's wife on the far left with the microphone kind of in her face, but that's
Sarah
great Allison Redding.
So you've had some ladies take part in the Nessmans throughout the years as well. Is that it, or do you want to give some shout outs? Do you want to?
Yeah, shout out to the Leslie Nezzies who joined us for that gig.
Is that the only one, or do they do a couple? I feel like
there's some at Rap Attack base. Also, I was really looking for this photo outside the Hideaway Pub, but we were billed on their billboard outside the Hideaway Pub as tonight. I think it was December 26, 2003, featuring the Nessmans. And we were actually pretty good buddies with the owner of the place, and
Gord.
Gord?
And he called us the Nessmans.
I'm sure it was an honest mistake, Gord.
No, he was probably jealous of you guys because
What were they?
You know,
The whiskey danglers. They're the whiskey danglers.
Whiskey Danglers.
yeah, rival band.
Yeah.
And Rob Reed joined us for a few songs here.
He
playing
did. That was the
guitar.
Rumballs night, if I remember right. That was
Yeah, he had about a 10-minute guitar solo on Gumballs.
Yes, he did.
Maddie,
I remember
you're
being in the crowd for that one, and somebody saying like, "Why do they call themselves the gay Nessmans?" And it's like, well, like, you know, I don't know, a few of them are gay, like, and she was wondering which ones. Anyway, yeah. Good gig, good
the
gig.
only answer you have to that is that the straight Nessmans was taken.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. There you go.
I
Maddie,
will-
you're banging away back there. How what are your
Congas.
recollections from this gig?
What's that?
I don't remember you playing congas in any of our
I don't
rehearsals.
remember that either. I don't remember playing the Congas at all. I don't know.
Looks like a Jimmy Buffett concert here.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll tell you this. My Jewish aunt and uncle came to this gig, and
Yep.
I remember swearing quite a bit during this gig.
Right.
And I woke up the next morning. We got drunk after this, and we were going home. And woke up the next morning, and I came down for breakfast, and they were all sitting there. I remember them not even making eye contact with me because they just couldn't believe
How much profanity went on
Awesome
that night.
experience it was. Really liking your Jewish aunt and uncle really loved the song "Circumcised." I think.
Yeah.
Well, you started off that night because of them. Wasn't that the whole deal? I thought that was how it all started. No?
Wow.
Could have been.
Wow.
But I remember them not really being that taken by our lyrics.
No, that didn't work.
Anyways,
Not relevant.
Not
Yeah.
for everyone.
hey,
Not for
that's rock and roll. You know, you don't like it? Get the fuck out.
everyone. Get the hell out of
Remember that? I can't remember the name of the restaurant out past Enderby. You guys did a winter.
Yeah, we got some photos
Oh,
coming
sorry,
up. Steve.
sorry. I'll
Oh,
shut
you're
up.
wrecking everything, T Money.
No.
You're not going to be back next week.
Lorenzo's.
No, you're right. I'm not.
Yeah, all right. What do we got here? Let's take a look. Is this it?
Nice, nice segue.
Or it was a good segue. Actually, you might come back next week.
Oh, yeah.
Troy bottom right there. Look at it. He's bottom right.
Yeah, I see him.
There you go.
That's not me. That guy doesn't have much. He looks like he's balding.
That ain't you. That's not you.
No, not me.
In the middle there, Leslie Nezzy, Ali Redding.
Yeah.
Kit Welburn.
Ready.
Yep. Jesse Bufano.
That's the guy who put together the little vid at the beginning of the show there.
Mike Zobak filling in on bass there on the right. Yep.
Right.
More talented than any of us for sure.
Yep, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. Put together. Yeah.
Who's on the drums there? Is that you, Maddie?
Patty
Yeah.
Gay.
That's me with the chaparral on.
Oh, you got a hat on.
Very preppy there.
Yep.
Very stylish.
K-Man with the original Revive the High Five t-shirt.
That's right. You know where that came
Yeah,
from?
I
That's
didn't
a
know
shout out right there. That's Mr. Petch.
Yeah.
Petch.
Yeah, came up with that little phrase.
Me and him have spent some time in Cowtown in the early days of both of us sort of moving here. And for one of my birthdays, for whatever reason, he bought me that, and actually specially made it for me, a Revive the Hive baseball shirt. I still have it and still love it. And we included that in that little 80s video that we did.
And I've seen you wear that at gigs. Love it. Peach is
Okay.
obviously a gold as well.
I've never heard of Revive the High Five until Peach. I don't know if it was a thing before that, but it's certainly.
I've never heard of it. But whatever Peach says is just pure gold. We all know that.
Absolutely.
Shoulder on the shoulders all the way home. Yeah, there he goes.
Mac Daddy on the far right there too with the red eyes.
Well, and
Staring at the camera.
Peach is self-identified as this one here.
Yep.
Which
Yeah,
one?
he's in
Oh,
there.
right there.
Right here. He's
Right to
talking-
the right of
he's tall
Zobak.
guy.
Yeah, the
Tall
far right.
guy.
I see him now.
Yeah.
There he
He's
is.
tall.
Right at the camera.
Very good. Okay. What do we got next here?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yellow
Oh
wrestling.
no.
oh no.
This
This
is
is old school, right? This is a picture from old school.
No, because that's Pebbles right there. I'm sure of it.
Oh,
Pebbles with hair.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah. No, this is
Is
real
Pebbles.
footage for sure.
Yeah, this is
Tell us the story about this one.
well. Oh, we're going deep here. This is some.
Take it,
This one
Fatty.
hurt a bit. This one.
Yeah, this is gonna hurt. So
Yes, it hurt and it was pleasurable at the same time. It's
It was,
an
yeah.
S&M type
There you go.
experience.
So a good friend of mine, Jerry Wilson, shout out if you watch right now. He was a bit of an organizer of events. He would do any kind of event you wanted. He used to own a bar. He would come and do bar events for you and serve alcohol. He also organized a Jello wrestling event it was in the wintertime sometime. And they were going to go with a DJ. And I'm not sure if I convinced him or we talked about us just playing at this. Yeah. We had both. We had the DJ and us, and we were supposed to be like the main event. So I believe we all bought wigs, and we were going to wear short cut off jean shorts for this. And we were well into our careers by then. We were pretty. We'd done some gigs, so we were feeling pretty good about ourselves. And we played this gig, and it was a younger demographic than we played to before, and they didn't like us at all. At all. There was one guy who kept on coming up to us when we were playing, and we thought we'd power through it, and they'd come to us eventually. And the one guy kept coming to us and going, play Home for a Rest, play Home for a Rest. And we didn't know Home for a Rest, so we couldn't play Home for a Rest.
And then he said, "You guys just don't have the balls to play it." We're like, "No, we just don't have the talent. We don't know how to play the song."
The complex
We don't know
song.
how to play. Anyways, so we played.
We don't have Holla to do the recorder solo in the middle.
Home for a Rest is a tough song. It is a tough song.
And it is a great song. To the guy's point, it would have been a great choice at that moment because we were sucking bad, but we just didn't know how to play it.
It wasn't that you were sucking bad. It was just awkward.
In retrospect, people
didn't have the
don't go to a
assets.
Jello wrestling competition to see the Nessmans.
No.
Yeah.
No. Now we know.
Should have probably
They
figured
should.
that one out.
We
but-
learned our-
Even though you wrote a song called Jello, especially for that gig.
Inspired by that, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the toughest songs to play, by the way. Thank you, bitch, on that one. Remember practicing that song over and over again. Yellow was a hard song to play. I remember that.
It was sort
At
of
Maddie's place. You were at Maddie and Jared's place. You guys were.
Yeah.
That's right. I
it
can't
was
remember.
inspired by a Led Zeppelin song.
That's right.
Black Dog.
Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Chords for that one.
Is there, I mean, I know we're going to talk about future plans later, but like, have you thought about like even just a throwback, like retro, going retro is so popular with the kids these days. Have you thought about doing a retro like Jello wrestling concert gig scenario with the Nessmans? Like if you guys, pull it all back together, would that be on the table? Maybe
Like
make up
Monty
for
versus
lost
Remick.
time?
Monty versus Remick. And then you guys
good battle.
play. Yeah.
That'd be like, yeah. I mean, I think it's the demographics that's the problem. If we're playing an older crowd who love Jello wrestling, I think it'd be great. I do think it'd be great. I will say one thing on this for this gig. We got our wig stolen from this gig.
True. Yeah.
And so that was the big thing. We actually lost money because we paid, I don't know how much for these. We had these wigs.
They were like $75 wigs for sure.
Yeah, they were good. They're legit.
But
We lost money on it.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see what else we got here. Now this one interests me because this isn't very far from where I'm sitting right now. This is close to my house, just a few miles down the road. Maybe I would say 5 miles down the road from where I'm right now.
Oh. So
So
this
tell
was
me about
on
this.
our Touch Below Mediocrity tour.
that's right.
And what I remember here was we had a great intro. We started at the top of the stairs. We had our little band room above where we were going to perform. And there were stairs down to the stage.
Yeah.
We got Sultry Stu to play a sax and just lead us. He was playing. We were all walking behind him, sort of dancing, making big fanfare coming in. Then we played our first note, and the bass was totally out of tune.
Yeah.
And we managed to get through the first song, and then spent the next 45 minutes changing a battery in the bass. Really sort of lost momentum there.
I don't think we figured it was a battery until maybe the fifth or sixth song of
Yeah.
That could be true.
And I remember Darcy, the hippie, literally hiding behind me as I'm singing. And I'm like, this is just like, you're sweating bullets, and it's like bang, bang, bang. And you're like, oh my God. And all your buddies that are watching, everybody was being great, but you could tell for sure. Like, there's people. Was your buddy Jamie Carson?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie Carson. And we actually had a song of his that you guys wrote together. We're like, we spent all this time working on that song just for Jamie, and he left like 4 songs in because we suck so bad. And we actually had a song of his that we're about to play. So
Yeah, and he drove from Nanaimo to come watch it.
was
that Cock for Hire?
It was Cock for Hire, yeah. Great song.
I
Great
love
song.
it. I love it. It looks like you guys did some more recent gigs. Look at this picture.
Yeah, that was at Monty's New Year's party.
Right.
Featuring rock band.
Yeah.
And then the Nessmans also played.
You guys opened for Rock Band, I
Yeah,
think.
we did.
That's unusual.
Yeah.
That was Vanessa's
that's
first
pretty good.
introduction to my friends. What a massive mistake that was by me. But
Spilly, look at I just look at Spilly's hair in this, and he just
Oh,
looks
Very tender look there. It's kind of a Steve Austin look.
that's sort of what I mean. Like, so handsome, right? Like, why would I introduce her to my friends?
And Koski, your eyes in that I've seen before. I want to say Vernon.
Right. Yeah, that seems like a Vernon look. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, very nice.
I think Monty was gunning for Jill's brother that night.
Yep. And Mac, me and Mac, he had a bit of a bullseye on us.
Yeah.
Well, we've all been on that list. Some of us more recently than others. What's going on in this one?
Yeah, we had an interesting sponsor that year.
Yeah. So what does that say? I can't even. Was that?
I'm not sure. I think it was a rooster brand.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Farming company.
Chicken, like there was a chicken disease, and so people weren't eating chicken that year, right?
Right. Yeah. It was a political statement.
Yeah. 100%.
We were talking about the be vegan.
Right.
So is it Christmas time, Spilly, or is that just the hat you chose to wear?
That's New Year's Eve at Monty's house, and that sign originally came from also near where you lived. I don't know if you remember, about 20 years ago, there was a guy running for the Liberal Party called Mike Elcock.
Of course, we all do.
Yeah, I know. We're all very politically inclined of Victoria politics.
Yeah. Did he win?
And I remember driving by that sign with Sultry Stew and thought, we've got to get that sign. So we quickly stopped, ran over, pulled down the sign, chucked it in the back of the Bronco, and drove off. And that was, for some reason, what was left of it in 2014.
I think that made a houseboat trip as well. That the Cox.
Yeah, good call.
It may have too. Yeah.
Again, probably have to brush over those stories, but it was also a good time.
Well, that was political as well.
It was a political weekend. You're right.
Yeah, we were just big fans of Mike Elcock.
Definitely.
But that was probably a turning point because I got rid of that sign after that gig, and that was my step into manhood.
Yep.
At that 2014.
LWO scarves at the ready too, gentlemen. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah, and with some jean vests there, jean jacket vests.
Denim vests as well. Pre-patch.
Yeah.
I remember this location. That's T Money knows this location. That's a family's place. That's that Kevin Allison's house.
Oh, okay, yeah. Billy spilled a rye Coke on my brother's rug.
What? What's that?
You did, Billy.
I didn't do it.
What did what?
It was totally Jill's brother. It was
What
totally
happened?
Jill's brother. Yeah, it was totally Jill's brother. He never fessed up to it. I think he was so drunk that he didn't even know he did it, but it was not me for sure.
We couldn't get it out of the rug. My mom drove there.
No, I tried to get rid of it.
I do remember that you helped.
Jill's brother wasn't even around.
So for the benefit of those trying to follow this argument in the chat, what are we talking about?
Getting weird.
But this is the gig that Monty fell asleep to.
Okay.
Right.
And we recorded him snoring later on.
But no, I want to come back to somebody pee on the carpet. Champ's been asking me. Somebody pee on the carpet? Was something spilled on the carpet? What happened on the carpet? T-Money, tell me.
No peeing. This was my brother's place in Vernon. This was actually really fun. And my recollection of this is invited these guys out, and there was a lot of debate over the drum kit. And I remember saying, no drums, no drums. Like, this is like, there's houses all around us. We can't do drums. But look, I do see drums there. And anyway, it was like a New Year's Eve party and a bunch of LWO folk and Nessman folk. And I remember Mike being there and Lisa being there. And we had a great time. These guys played with the drums. And I remember waking up in the morning, Sharf, much like Harry Potter, had slept under the stairs in a little closet. And Monty had really injured his foot diving out onto the snow on the deck upstairs. There was a hot tub. And I remember just waking up to a rye and Coke spilled all over the whitish gray light carpet and not being able to get that out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Fatty, you're looking like you're in your prime in this gig.
Pretty tender.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, my biggest memory this night was for some reason, we had a somersault contest after this. And turns out that Cosmac, can't do a fucking somersault. He does a straight leg somersault. It is unbelievable to watch. It's like watching something.
Oh, I'm not that flexible. It's a problem with
the leg. It is ridiculous.
It's a cultural thing. Take it easy.
Nothing to be ashamed of, Cosmac.
Cultural.
Early days, but he does a straight-legged somersault. It is hilarious.
Straight-legged somersault.
Yeah, you got to see it. It is unbelievable.
Wow, I could learn a few.
I do remember P90X the next morning, which I think
Exactly.
I remember that feeling like hell, and Murray started P90X, and it's almost like it was like self-loathing. I just got to do this, and
Murray led a P90X workout in the morning after, and Mac Daddy was all over it. I didn't even partake. So good for you, Costy.
The man is Murdog gave us a For Your Health segment in episode 2 this season, working out. He's a commitment to excellence, that guy.
Oh,
and he's been in the chat all night too, Murdog. So shout out.
I remember at one point too, Mac was almost falling asleep, and Sarah, bless her, she was bribing him. Do you remember how she was bribing Mac to stay awake? If he would stay awake to midnight, she would offer him this special treat if he could only make it to midnight.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, I think he made it. I think he made it to midnight.
Oh, good for him.
What was the treat?
It was on the sign, actually. It was to do with that Mike Elcock thing, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Shaw, I saw you in the chat. Mac, I've seen the chat. Please weigh in on this story. We'd all like to know.
How did that end up?
Choose your own adventure. All right, let's see what else we got here. Now, I remember this one.
Look at Matt. I love it.
Mm-hmm. The grimace. Again, mouth open.
Mid-yodel.
Playing isn't that like the triangle pool table there you're playing?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Good eye.
And the pool table?
Good eye.
Oh,
hey, you do what you can.
Yeah, lesser known instrument. Pool table.
Let's take in music where it should go.
You're right.
Music where it's going to go. I mean,
I'm in.
That's the situation called for me playing a triangle.
I'm thinking you're saying gumball in that line right now. That looks like gumball.
That could be true. That could be.
Well,
true.
we did a Legends version of it, right? Legends.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Look at Mac Daddy on the guitar too, just killing it.
Yeah, the bass. He's just grooving.
Yeah, very Peter Frampton there.
For me, this is my first experience with the Nessmans, seeing you guys at the 25th anniversary in Vic. And you guys were great. You just killed it, man. It was awesome. I was so impressed. And one of the things that I liked is you got Mac Daddy and T Money up there joining you. I think Levi was there. Levi was singing every song on the side of the show. And Levi,
Jose and Grinder.
And Grinder. And Levi you're still in the chat. And
Levi
late in T-Dot, man. So shout out to you.
Yeah. Thanks for staying up.
And then I was really impressed how Maddie and Spilly bounced back and forth between the drums. Like you guys each took turns on the drums. That was a great concert. Like it was a great show. It was a lot of fun.
I like Mac's comment in the chat. That pic of Maddie was photoshopped from the sailor pic.
Yeah.
It's just a great shot, Maddie.
That wasn't a drumstick in his hand originally.
We put a blue shirt on him.
Yeah.
I will say
blue.
The Nessmans
stands for blow.
We've always gone back and forth with the instruments. Like it's always been after one song, we get up and switch to the drum, to the bass, to the guitar, and somebody else sings. And it's sort of like, I don't think any other bands do that.
I don't think it was actually meant to be anything cool. It was just that we practiced whoever played that instrument on that song. We just, I remember we actually had to we'd actually put songs in order based on, okay, Darcy plays drums, those 3 songs. Let's try to put those 3 songs in the same order so we don't have to move so much.
Yeah. Again, those songs sort of started out when we only had 3 instruments between 4 people. So we had to switch.
Yeah, that's right.
Shout out to Sarah and Mac who organized that gig and got us like something that really had that feel of Monty's basement, right? Like we were like, it was like, yeah, gorgeous. Thanks for getting us that location.
That was a fun night.
And Levi, who remembers that Troy's first experience on the microphone was at Dan Cowan's wedding.
Right.
Yeah, where I played the bass, and there was a very good drummer, and Troy just jumped on the mic and just rapped away.
Really?
Yeah, the power of alcohol.
That was a great night. That was a great night.
It was a great night. And
I think
Holla,
everyone had a good time.
somewhere in there, Holla, you're wearing a yellow suit as well. That's
And a
just
great recording
fits
solo.
your pants especially just fit so nicely.
I was so drunk I got to play with the Nessmans at one point.
That's
for
right.
Home for
Oh,
rest.
yeah, I think it was Home for
Finally
Rest.
played Home for Rest. It was
Or I opened with that, or I don't know. I was wasted, and then we did Yellow Football Team, I think, as well. So there you go.
right.
What's going on in this photo? This is a more recent gig.
It is. That was not last summer, but the summer before in Glen Eden Hall in Salmon Arm. Back to our roots.
Mr. Cooperman. Anyway, when Cooperman, I think, organized most of this, did he not? Or
He did.
Yeah.
The Pred.
And Sharf did a lot of work in that too and pulling it together. Levi and Sharf, I think. That's mid-July of 2019 because I missed that gig because Kai was almost born and I wasn't allowed to come.
right.
Yeah.
That was actually a pretty fun gig, even though we're missing Mr. Fatty and Double D, but it was a fun one.
You know,
we raised money, $1,000, I think, for environmental causes, and it cost the Nessmans approximately $1,000 to do the gig. So it worked out well.
There's actually a story I remember from this one. Actually, is there was I sent I think a text out to the band, as I do once in a while, and me and Spill usually have a quick chat, and I'm like, hey, yeah, let's see if the guys are interested. So I'd send a text out, say, hey, Double D, Maddie, the gang, we might have a gig in July of 19. You interested? I think about a month went by, and then Fatty said, are you serious? And then I said yes. And then I never heard from him again. Honestly, that's what happened.
Just always there when you need him, right?
Oh, that's the kind of band we are.
Yeah, it's band first and then everything a low second.
Well, I remember the logistics of the whole thing, thinking, how are we gonna? We can't rehearse. We're gonna go up and we're gonna look like fools. Summertime, I don't have any holidays.
I just love how you checked with me, like, are you serious? And I said yes, and then that was it. That was.
I'm sure I
Who
got
do you have?
stuff to
Zobo
do.
playing with you there? Does Zobak play with you?
That's right.
Zobak played drums, and then it was Colin who played
yeah.
keyboard, which was a new addition.
So Snare hooked you up with some musicians, in other words.
Yeah. More musicians who lent some credibility to the next.
Shout out to Electric Landlady right here as well.
Oh my God, they nailed it that night.
Yeah, like Dan Cowan and Pred and
oh my God. And then
Jacob
actually,
and Scare.
it was
Electric Landlady's the roots of Salmon Arm music for us.
Yeah, true story.
Yep.
True story.
all right. So I'm looking forward to a post-COVID era where we can do another one of these.
30th anniversary.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Better practice up.
Okay, so
Oh my God, we're at 2 hours and we're only at this.
this one, it's a marathon.
Right back.
Brent. It's a marathon. Listen, Koski's going pee. If anyone else needs to go pee, we'll just do a little brief intermission. Chad, if you need to go pee, this is a good opportunity because we got a little bit more to go. Probably more than 30 minutes. It's gonna be. This is like I feel Bremner hasn't been seen since the first 5 minutes.
Damn. I'm having a nice time. I hope the chat's having a nice time.
Yeah. Listen, we've had consistently around 30 viewers all night. I can see 29. So everyone's hanging off every last word that the Nessmans are sharing. A big fan presence on the air, and thanks for listening in. Thanks for sticking with us, Levi. Thanks for sticking with us because it's almost 11 o'clock our time. So that's well past midnight. So it's tomorrow. Levi, if you could send the lotto numbers, that would be great. Really
That's
great.
how it works, right?
Yeah. And I haven't seen Coolio in a bit, but Coolio, if you're still out there, good luck with work at 4:30 tomorrow, brother.
Ooh,
That's gonna come. That's gonna come up. It's gonna come up close. But yeah, no, a good presence. A lot of folks have been on. I gotta ask, we're gonna talk a little bit about the video shoot. We're gonna talk about the greats, 80s girl. But is there any like gig stories that we missed? Did we miss anything like groupies, with the concerts, with the places you played? Or do you feel like, have we covered it all? And this is an open question to any of the three of you.
I think there's one little tidbit I think we missed. One of the funner gigs I actually remember just at this moment is the Nelson gig, the New Year's Nelson gig that I think
At Andrew Voigt's Dutch's house.
Oh, the Dutch's house? I
Andrew
think
Voigt.
was it
Andrew
Scott
Voigt.
Weed's house that we practiced at, Fatty? I don't remember.
No, we practiced at Scotty Weed's
Weed's place.
Yeah. And that was
Quick shout out to Pred, who's about to pass out. Attaboy, Pred. You hung in
Ready?
there.
who's passing out?
Levi Cooperman.
No. Hey,
It's 2 in the morning for him.
one thing I've heard about Levi, he's got staying power. That's one thing I've heard, that Predator.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Fatty Gays.
The Fatty Gays, yeah. So we played on New Year's Eve of whatever that was, 2002 ish. That's where that album came from. We actually put together an album in Scott Weed's.
When we say we mean Bitch Ranson, of course. But anyways, yeah.
What's that?
I think it was Bitch
Yeah.
always does all the album stuff.
Yeah, he put it together. Well, that's
Your
where
picture was on it.
Who?
True.
Who's that?
Your picture was on it.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So anyways, we put together this album in Scotty Weed's garage and played a subsequent gig at Andrew Voigt's place just down the road, walking distance. And I think that was one of the better gigs we've had. It was really like a 4-tiered house, and it was packed. And one of my biggest memories from that night was this girl on a hula hoop. She was hula hooping all night. She was one of the residents of the house, and she was a beautiful hippie, just hula hooping all night, and she made it worthwhile playing because she was kind of hula hooping to our music.
Yeah,
it was solid. I was sold on that for sure.
I think we all, if I remember correctly, none of us were that way, but I think there was some Scooby snacks involved that night, if I remember. Is that true?
I think that's true. That's true story. True story.
It's funny when you say like hula hoop, I think of Anna Heckrod for some reason. But anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
You're out there, Grinder. Anyways,
I do remember after the gig, Jill's brother talking to his girlfriend at the time.
Right.
And the first thing that he said was, I can't find my pants. I
remember she called me to wish me Happy New Year's, and I think I answered, I can't find my pants. It was actually a true story because we did the gig in our underwear. It was like it wasn't meant to be anything weird. It was just, but it didn't go over well, as you can imagine.
It was sort of a Chili Peppers thing. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Just tube socks or something like that? Yeah. All right.
Briefs kind of a scene, but
nice. I know we're going to get into getting into the studio and the video shoot. I got to ask you, Spilly, sorry, Bitch Ranson. Are we gonna do the slides and then the video, or do you want to start with the video and do the slides? What would you like to do?
I mean, whatever you feel like. Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me.
We're getting close to the halfway point.
Yeah. Do we want to
maybe boost up the momentum with a video?
Yeah, let's do it.
Can I say one thing before we start?
Give people a break from this incessant.
Should we have
for a drummer was the hardest song for me to play as a drummer.
Which song?
Yeah, you love this song, 80s Girl. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, right.
I didn't play it on this particular. The film.
But when this came out too, this was the song that, like, legit. I said it before, but this was the song that I was like, this is the radio song. This is the song that's like meant to actually be distributed to the masses.
Right.
It's a great song. So, you've all heard it before, but on the off chance that you're in the audience and you haven't heard 80s Girl before, we're going to play the music video. We're going to talk about it after, but let's hit it here. Ladies and gentlemen.
Mute up, boys.
Right.
80s Girl.
when I talk about my Eddie's girl. I get lost inside of Eddie's world. With our Walkmans on, we talk hand in hand, listening to the greatest hits by Duran Duran. When she feels a need to go really fast, we jump in my Camaro and hit the gas. She's my Eddie's girl, my little Eddie's girl, my little Eddie's girl. I'm in an Eddie's world, I'm in the Eddies. I don't care what you say, I don't care what they think. I can't resist blue eyeshadow on a pretty thing. You know my love for her is true, it ain't no joke. A perfect fit, she's my cherry, I'm a coke. And when she feels the need to go really fast, we jump in my Camaro and hit the gas. Now we're flying down the highway at top speed. As she smiles at me, I know it's all I need. She's my Eddie's girl, my little Eddie's girl, my little Eddie's girl. I'm in the Eddie's world, I'm in the Eddie's. She's my Eddie's girl, my little Eddie's girl, my little Eddie's girl. I'm in the Eddie's world, I'm in the Eddie's. She's my Eddie's girl, my little Eddie's girl, my little Eddie's girl. I'm in the Eddie's world, I'm in the Eddie's. Now we're driving down the highway at top speed. As she smiles at me, I know it's all I need.
Wow.
Whew.
What was that?
I'm emotionally drained.
So hot.
Spilly, I think Spilly looked amazing there, but I remember Spilly saying that was the heaviest he'd ever been in his life. Was that right?
Somebody looked like Spilly had eaten Mike Benson or something in that.
Excellent follow-ups to that video.
Leads to another part of the story of the video where
I was the heaviest I had been. I was at the end of med school. I was weighing 196 pounds. In Rap Attack, I was under 170, so like 167-ish. Yeah, so I was a heavy fat man. Well, like a hippopotamus.
I was trying to lead into the duct tape story, actually. It was
so, well, yes, during the filming of that, I had to try and create more pecs than a protuberant belly. So I duct taped my abdomen in hopes that it would just sort of raise the obesity up to my nipples. I don't think it quite worked. It was a trial. I don't think
It
it
does
quite worked.
explain the mean grimace on your face through most of the video. You know, yeah, but you
He's trying to be sort of an 80s glam rock guitar player.
fantastic.
Didn't we used to do that to the women? They used to tie it at the back and pull it and tie it.
Corset?
Corset?
Oh,
Yeah.
what was that called?
Yeah, we didn't have corsets.
Totally. That was an English thing. And Spilly's got English roots.
Yeah.
No, I duct taped as well. I wasn't like this is not a solo project. I was not exactly svelte either. And we both, I remember we were actually in a room together and we're like, it's come to this. And we're like duct taping our bellies up, trying to look good for a video that we've got 1,000 views on over 10 years. But
And climbing.
pretty special.
Yeah.
Not 10,000, 1,000.
Sorry.
One more. Holla just played it.
After this
Yeah,
episode,
1,001 views.
you know, I
was
love that. I
honestly
like
a great
that.
moment. I think Sharfie has a picture of us duct taping our bellies up. And I would love to have that picture.
I would love to have that too. Unfortunately, it's not in the slideshow.
If you look in the Camaro there really close, I think you can see like you can sort of see it's a little bit pushed up from our. Next time you look at that video, everybody, take a look at that.
Sharf gave me a couple of memories from that because he was the jack of all trades, key grip.
Key grip, yeah.
And he was recalling lying flat on the floor, spinning you guys on chairs, and that was one of his good memories. And another one was running interference for the Trans Am owner who was mercilessly hitting on the 80s girl in the video and trying to keep, her sanctity pure.
We got some photos of the 80s girls in this next segment. So I'm going to skip quickly through these next couple slides because I think you guys can actually tell a little bit more of those.
Oh, this is the studio. Yeah.
This is the studio.
Yeah, that's how Brent learned how to sing.
Yeah, that was that book helped me a lot actually.
Yeah.
I like it.
Looks like you're into like chapter 2 by then.
But here, look at this. I mean, this is it right here. Well, hold on. What's with that necklace, Koski? That is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's a good question. Where did I get that? Fat or Spilly? Do you remember where I got the
No, I don't know. You got
It was
the suit.
It was MC Hammer.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, at that time that you were rubbing shoulders with MC Hammer. Yeah. Yeah, Music 91. But the suit came from the owner of the studio.
Yeah.
And that suit actually was like he wore that suit in the 80s.
The keyboard
and happened to have it, and you happen to fit it perfectly. I mean,
we were the same size, tall, slender guys.
Yeah, with big shoulders.
He said Mike Sharp just said it belonged to a Chinese keyboard player. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sharfie's he's been pretty busy in the chat quoting.
I think he's Sharfie. I wish you could see
Flight of the Conchords as
well. I'd love to hear
Jim Kwan, I believe is his name. Yeah.
I'd love to hear his
in the studio.
Okay. What's going on here?
Don't. No.
Why am I associated with that guy?
As far as I know, this is the only affiliation that Jill's brother has with Bill Cosby.
I hope so.
Because he like his fame has fallen a bit, since that time.
The stock has fallen, yeah. Jello pudding pops too, Skoski, or just
he likes pudding.
I'd like to go to the next slide if that's possible.
That's possible.
There's Sultry Stew as key grip and lighting director.
Yeah, I can see
on the right.
The red shirt there.
Look at that.
Sultry Stew was amazing. That was at a day and a half or two that we did that, and he treated us like gold. Like he took the next level.
Hey, K-Man, maybe we should tell the story of how we found this Camaro in the first place.
You should.
Good point.
Grenade.
There you go. Well,
go ahead.
I'll start it off. You can finish it. So we're busy in the studio, and we needed a supper break, and so we ordered some sushi, and so I think it was delivered to us, or maybe we walked across the street and got it. And our producer, Mike Southworth, said, "Guys, I need some fresh air." Like we'd been in this dark studio all day long, And so we went outside. We're eating some sushi in this back parking lot. And prior to this, for the past couple of days, we're thinking, okay, like Mike suggested that we should shoot a video for this song. And we're like, yeah, okay, great. And Brent called up a few people on Craigslist and asked them if they would give up their Camaro that was for sale, if they would rent it out for a day or so. And there were no takers. And then as we were eating sushi out in this back parking lot, all of a sudden this 80s Camaro drives into the parking lot, and we may have not even noticed it, but it was just revving its engine the whole time. We're like,
yeah.
I think
it was actually unbelievable, because I remember we did you're right. We walked out and it was literally the thing we're looking for, and it's sitting right there in the parking lot. And I think me and you had a quick chat, and I'm like, we got to just go walk over this Camaro and just see.
That's an 80s Camaro, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly what we're looking for. Yeah. The guy was like super awesome, and like, yeah, sure, well, $100 or whatever it was, and yeah, you can have it for the day. And then he proceeded to hit on the 80s girl for the next 24 hours, which was.
So we provided some beverages and some snacks during the shooting of this video. We thought we'd do it at night to maintain light that was strict throughout. And this guy was supposed to work early the next morning up in Squamish, I think, and this is in North Vancouver. And we provided some beverages and snacks, and he was supposed to just drop off the Camaro and leave. But then he saw the 80s girl and stuck around for the whole time and was kind of hitting on her. Meanwhile, Sultry Stew was doing a fantastic job plying us with beverages and snacks and doing great key grip work and lighting.
That's like Sharf is born to do that sort of stuff. You know, not like he's a brilliant musician, obviously, but like Sharf also loves a proper caper, you know, like he just loves being involved in stuff like that. Sharf is an absolute beauty. And you know what? I'm not going to spoil anything, but we got some more stuff from Mike Sharf coming later in this episode.
Okay.
Good cliffhanger.
Yeah.
2 hours and 12
So that's the 80s girl right there.
All the content still. There you go.
She was awesome. She was like Christine Wolf. She was totally up for all the stuff where, you know, our music is, you know, debatable at times, and she was totally in.
How do what I like about her is the ambiguity. Like, she's not giving anything up. We just keep us wanting more from this 80s girl. That's perfect for 80s girl. I love it.
How did you find her? You just put an ad out in the paper, or how does that work?
We did, and we got a few responses.
Yeah, we did. You're right. I forgot about that. The gymnast.
We got that gymnast who had like a total video profile of her doing various martial arts and back handsprings and such.
I don't want to get into a conversation about this, but you know, I know in the chat, and there's been some controversy over the years that the 80s girl was not Sarah Shaw or Kelly Vincent. I know, you know, I don't want to just lobbing that out there, but we should probably move on.
Right.
Fair enough.
The 80s girl is for those who think it's about you. It probably is.
Okay.
All right.
That's good, because I've actually had thoughts about that myself. Yeah.
I don't think we're answering any questions here right now.
It's actually about T-Rod.
All right. We're getting into the accolade section, Spilly.
So once we had an album complete, we had to get into sort of a marketing blitz, and so this is one of our earlier marketing campaigns. This probably wasn't pre social media, but it was pre-social media for the Nessmans, which it still is. This was one of our advertisements.
And that worked out really well for us.
Really well.
Yeah. The early stuff, right? Like,
again, 1,000 views of this video over 10 years. Really well. Really
That's a Nessmans record.
It is. Yeah. It's the highest it's ever been.
We're gonna pump the tires after this episode. Don't worry about that. Like, you got your early stuff, but this is your modern album, right? I mean, there's a lot of really like production quality songs on this album? Like what, like, did you guys, you got the 1,000 views on YouTube on 80s Girl, but do you feel like you got the recognition you deserved? I mean, a band that's grafted from Raft Attack, you've done your hard labor on the road to Victoria Logan's, Steamers, Jello Wrestling. You get to this point, do you feel like you got the credit that you deserved, or is this a story where you're still left hanging?
I think that we deserved, yes.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next slide.
All right, next slide.
I think they could use more of the Nessmans, if you're asking. I think they could use more of this, of the Nessmans. I think people need to self-deprecate a little more,
Right.
and that's what we do.
Fatty, you know what? T Money said it. This is the episode he's looking forward to the most this season. I mean, we're kind of small time on LWO radio. We got a core group of viewers in the chat, mainly people that just know us. But this episode really captured the imagination, and I think people really would love to see more of the Nessmans. And I don't feel like I'm just blowing smoke. I know. I mean, we've seen the chat's been pretty involved. The story can't end here.
No,
It's not over.
Yeah.
I just note on another note here, Mac Daddy says, can't believe you didn't have the 80s Girl writhing on the hood of the car.
White Snake.
We did actually during the filming of this, but that was not a action that was supported by the owner of the 80s Camaro.
I was actually just explaining to Finley today the virtues of White Snake. Anyway, I mean, obviously lost on the owner of the vehicle, which is really unfortunate. And
yeah.
So there is a White Snake reference in that video, if you didn't catch it.
Okay.
So the Chicago Daily Tribune picked up the news, and it was only 2 cents for this edition, but
that particular paper.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Scotty and I used to work in Chicago at the old Chicago store.
Oh,
right.
That's a different reference.
Right.
But
I believe they sell Wang computers there.
Neither one of us work there anymore, but
no.
Different story.
Sarah used to work there too. Doesn't work there anymore. Yeah, it's a common, very short-lived employment at that store.
Yeah, you can really run afoul of management there.
So this is the moment where I knew the Nessmans made it. So I put this. We'd gone to the studio. We had made our video. We got our album on a CD, pressed it. Real pressing of a CD, like not just sticking a sticker on there and selling blank CDs. This was a real CD, and I put it into the stereo system in my Honda Civic, and this turned up on my on my stereo system, and I thought, oh yeah, I got to take a picture of this. And then I knew we made it once I put a CD in there, and it came up as the Nessmans.
Nessmans loud.
Wow,
yeah,
very nice.
I remember talking about you guys too, or like somebody. It was on the CKXR, I believe. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. True. That's the Grammy we won. I can't remember what category it was.
No.
Or I think it was.
I see it at the bottom.
Most unlikely to succeed or something.
Best band ever.
Oh, it's the best band ever.
Best band ever. Yeah.
I didn't know about that category.
Yeah.
That's a subtle win.
Is that?
You guys voted for that one, right?
Is that a real category?
Yeah. I don't even know what's happened to Fatty here.
I was gonna say Fatty's like gone dark.
I think he voted for it, and so he just wanted to exclude himself from this segment.
30. He had a time of 2 hours and 20.
There's the bias or perception of bias, and Maddie didn't want to be involved in this segment.
Yeah. He's still awake. We're good.
Yeah.
There's no walk off to the bathroom. And then here's our Hollywood star.
That's in front of the Salmar. That's in front of the Salmar.
Yeah, the Salmar Theater. Yeah. We're the only one on there, and we're were incarcerated for a
Because
little
I
bit.
remember
for putting
seeing
that up.
Sharp there, like he had a chisel and a pencil crayon, or it might have been a crayon, and he's like I had a flashlight and like I blacked out for part of it, but anyway,
Let's I'm hoping that Fatty comes back here, but I'm gonna go full screen on the complete anthology. And I'm gonna go to you first, Koski.
Sure.
Favorite song?
Ooh, yeah, you know, there's probably two ways to look at that. If I'm gonna sit there and play just a song by myself, it'd probably be "Fuck You While You Fuck Me," which is kind of a weird choice, but it is true. If it was actually playing in front of people, I'd probably go with John Davies. I always loved John Davies. It's not really it's a total Rap Attack song. A guy named John Davies, a true story song, but it's just this heartfelt song about a guy who, you know, used to be one of the boys. I think the 20-something age it kind of relates to that whole where your boys, the boys are the most important thing in your life, and at some point it somehow changes as you hit your 30s, and suddenly your girlfriend, your wife becomes the focus, and the boys are kind of like trying to bring you back, but they know you're gone. You're off in another direction. And that John Davies is kind of that song where you're trying to pull that guy back to your world because he's taken off to the next step and you're not quite there yet. And for me, that's a fun one to play live because it starts off as sort of very kind of melancholy song, and by the end of it, it's this guy shouting, "John Davies, where are your ladies?"
he played for us in the August Long tournament as well. Good soccer player.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
How about you, Spilly? Like favorite song either to play or the one that you know brings out an emotion in you?
Yeah, I mean, all of them have a special place in my heart, but John Davies certainly, yeah, is a one of the more favorites, I suppose. Nice sort of ballad that builds up and again has that very deep introspective message behind it. Yeah. Probably most people will not notice that, but I also like "Laid Last Night." I think it's one of the songs that as a band we really get together on, and do a pretty good job on. It was one of the songs that playing at Steamers, a random woman jumped up on stage and sang along with us. It's like most Nessmans songs, not a complicated chorus. I got "Laid Last Night" repeated a number of times. And yeah, so that's from a playing perspective. I think that's one of my favorites.
Nice. T-Money, you won a contest to be here as the biggest Nessmans fans. What's your favorite Nessmans song?
Yeah, I was actually going to interrupt, so thank you for asking. We've talked about, I think I have a lot, but we've talked about 80s Girl. We've talked about STD. I think my other one is actually, I love the swing version of "Fuck You." And that goes back to the roots of being in Glen Eden and we were writing lyrics, and Grinder wrote the lyrics. I referenced it in my diary entry, but Grinder started the lyrics for it. I'm sure one of you guys finished it, but like I love the original of "Fuck You," but when you guys turned it into swing, damn, like it's just like so good. And Gumballs as well, but like "Fuck You" is one we haven't discussed, and I love it. So Luke Grinder, attaboy.
Yeah, you nailed him.
Yeah, so "Fuck You" was originally a song, written by Luke. I'm not sure. I think it was a letter to Nikki Bruce, who was teaching at the time.
Based on a true story.
Based on a true story that Luke was riding by the school that she was teaching at, riding by on his bike, not wearing a helmet. And so Nikki took that opportunity as a learning opportunity, as a good teacher would, and got the class to write letters to Luke to implore him to wear a helmet. And Luke's response that I don't think was sent was a maybe a perhaps more negative response, where I'm gonna ride my bike my own way. Fuck you.
Right.
And Jill's brother took that and wrote a song around it.
It's also like it is a great, like when you turn it to swing, it's a great live song. Like it's got a lot of energy and it's just a really fun one. And it's too bad in a way. I mean, we should have Scarf, we should have Darcy, but Mac Daddy would be another one who obviously like there from the start and has seen so many of the stuff. And you know, it's, I don't know. I love watching you guys. It's like, you know, if I could see one band, it would be you guys. So it's just cool to be on the episode and hanging out with you guys talking about this stuff.
All right, settle down, T-Money. Settle down. I don't need you throwing panties.
That made me feel pretty good, I have to say.
Yeah, okay.
I do love
gentlemen. First of all, chat. We don't know where Fatty Gay has gone.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's okay.
We're eagerly awaiting whatever has happened being resolved and him re-entering. I'm watching for him, but I don't know where he is.
Usually happens to him at the end of the night, but
yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like, one of the things that is difficult, obviously, you know, Nessmans is our house band, and for me, for personal reasons, because of LWO Radio, Microphone is my favorite song. But for me, like, some of this music is very accessible, and some of it isn't. And I think we talked pre-show that we're gonna find a way. So chat, remember, LWO Radio brings you the scoop. We're gonna find a way to make the complete anthology available if you want to listen to it, digitally remastered, obviously, because that's what people do. And
at great expense.
At great expense. So that's coming. So chat. So may not be in this episode that we announce that. It might, you know, you have to stay tuned on social media, on all the social channels. Speaking of Maddie, I know.
There he is.
Yeah, something happened. I don't know what happened there. I had some difficulties.
No worries, Maddie. Listen
for a second.
Let me ask you. We just finished talking to the guys. They gave us some information. We're looking at the anthology, and I asked them. I said, you know, what was their favorite song to either play or just in general, maybe because of the lyrics or whatever. So I'm going to ask you, Maddie, like, what's your favorite Nessmans song?
There's a few, but I would tell you that the favorite one to play in front of the crowd was Rap Attack, and I'll tell you why. When you get into it, and there's a break, and they say, "Are you ready to fly?" And Mike Sharf and I salute at the same time. Yeah, boom! That hits me. It gives me goosebumps every time. Mike Sharf's out there. That's my favorite. That's my favorite part of any song with Rap Attack because it's on point and it means something. And I like that part right there.
Love it, Maddie. Love it.
Yeah, it was good. And your honestly, your no-no-nos, I remember that was sort of added along the way somewhere, like maybe not first or 10 takes even, but the no-no-nos. Honestly, I love that part of the fucking song. It just adds a whole.
So good.
Yep. And then the worst one, is that what we're going to now too?
Yeah, worst. Let's go.
Sure, why not?
Oh boy.
What do you hate the most?
Each of you hate the most.
I don't hate him. I don't.
We're only at 2.5 hours.
That was more of an appropriate.
Wasn't it one
question.
about Monty? Was it Holla? There was something about Holla's look.
Yeah.
There was the John Davies one bores me a little bit, but then
the previous two answers on the favorite song was John.
That's great.
It's so nasty.
Beautiful that Maddie had logged out for that segment. It's so good. It's so authentic. This is live shit you're getting on LWO Radio right now.
As a drummer, a ballad is not very fun to play.
No. So was that spoken of before the John Davies song?
What's that?
That was spoken of before the John Davies song?
Yeah, as our favorite song.
I don't care myself, but
and they said something about they liked it because it kind of sidelined you.
Oh.
No, just kidding. Made that up.
Let's keep this sucker moving, all right?
Well, the Fatty Gay song is all about that.
Fatty Gay's good. That brings a lot of back. That's a whole other story, but it's probably another episode, the whole 20-inch cock stuff. But another.
We'll save this for season 3. Nessmans.
Or we could just say it right now. Bill's brother and I came back from the Live Wire, and Fatty Gay. We went back to Rocky Mountain House, the abode at the Rapidac base, where Fatty and Jill's brother were staying, and we decided at 3 o'clock in the morning that having a jam session would be a good idea, and Fatty Gay was
Not
deep
into it.
asleep.
He was
Deep
very
asleep
he was
and
very
not into the jam session for some reason.
The Frenchest of the words. He was Fatty Gay. It was like not happening.
Yeah, and as we were playing, there was an interesting shadow because we had the drum kit set up and like a bass and a guitar, and the light sort of shone on this bass guitar, and it happened to be right in the groin area of Matt when he was sleeping, and it
was pretty special.
It was very special, and so we wrote a song about Fatty Gay, that he was je suis fatigué, that he was very tired and asleep, and that he had a 20-inch cock because it was the shadow of the bass guitar.
Very good. Very good. We got to wrestle this thing back on track here, but I think, nice work. Fatty, like you missed it, but we did announce that we wanted to try and make the anthology more accessible, digitally remastered, of course. So hopefully, and got a bit of a reaction from the chat, who's down to 17 people. So they're just dropping like flies.
Yeah, I get it.
We're into the.
Is that include the five of us, or is that?
We were never good at endurance.
A lot of people left when Fatty left originally, so that makes a lot of sense. All right, you know what? That's the end of the that's the end of the slide deck. That's the end of the photos.
We made it
marathon there, but we're not done yet.
Great work, boys.
Yeah. We talked. Yeah, definitely. Great job. The show's not over though. So hey, if you're watching along, don't go anywhere. Just don't go anywhere.
There's an Easter egg. There's an Easter egg, right, Holla?
There's tons of shit still.
I'm looking forward to this Easter egg.
I'm actually excited. I have no idea what's going to happen next.
Me neither.
That's right. But before we get there,
it's just like a gig.
Yeah.
We talked about.
How's it go,
guys?
What's on Sax, boys?
We talk. Fuck. I'm just about to remove a bunch of you guys.
All three of us.
Yeah. I'd like to get
the only way we can say on script.
I'd like to sleep tonight.
It was true ness before we play something. We talk about something we talked about before. We always play the song twice.
We got the anthology done. I know, chat. Listen, here's the other thing. The Nessmans have contributed immensely to LWO Radio with all the music videos that have been done. T-Money's done a lot of lyrics. I know, Koski, you've done a bunch of singing. Spilly, you've done singing and production of videos. We've shown them first season and second season. So at the end, after next week, because there's another music video next week. But at the end of it, we'll put that together into a playlist for you guys. I think we even talked about going back to season 1 with the Legends of Hockey. Yeah. I'll take that live performance of the Legends Attack, which of course is Rap Attack that's been repurposed. I'll lift that out of that episode. We'll have a whole bunch of music videos. We'll Fast Legends, Mike Perry, Holla the Legend. What was the one? Monty by Bobby Knoll, who guest sung on that. We'll put that together into a playlist for you guys. We'll add 80s Girl into there as well, just so you'll get a few extra views there, Nessmans. So we're going to do that as well. But that's not the announcement. Before we get to that, I want to ask these guys. We've covered where the Nessmans came from. We've covered the gigs. We've covered the album. We've covered the music video. We've covered how you guys got to know each other, what makes the Nessmans so great. What's next? And I want to start with Koski. Koski, what's next for the Nessmans?
Well, I've been telling these guys since I was probably 29, 30 years old. I always told Fatty and Mr. Bitch is that we need to, at 45, I said originally. I think I'm pushing it out of 50 because I won't mention anybody's turning 50 anywhere anytime soon, but I think we got to go back to a world tour. Again, of course, we'll start in Victoria.
Yeah.
Like we did last time. And I'm thinking clearly this year is going to be, a challenge. So we'll go 21 to 22. Oh, hold on, 22 to 23. Let's mix it up here a bit. But honestly, I think the idea is that we actually do it. I think we should actually get a bus, get get a couple seminar gigs, get a Victoria gig, get a Calgary gig, and do like a little tour. And if we play in front of 3 people or 50 people, who gives a shit? Like, it's just so much fun. Like, just to actually do it. That's the future. And I actually think it happens because why wouldn't you just do that? Like,
why wouldn't you do it?
Just do it. And whoever wants to show up, you're welcome to come. And if you don't show up, we'll record it for you. That's great. But honestly, I think the key to the Nessmans is we just enjoy the hell of us hanging out with each other and playing. And guys like Troy and Mac are always there for us, and there's a bunch of other guys too. But it really is just the fun we have playing together. And if people show up, that's a bonus. It's mostly we just fucking love hanging out with each other and playing some music.
And we got COVID interfering with Maddie's 50th, but maybe it's our 50th. Maybe it's a 50th.
Totally. Yeah, the 73 50th. So like 2023.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I buy that. I'll buy myself a real drum set.
For sure.
Another story right there. Yep, you betcha.
And Koski, on that note, before I go to Fatty actually, you know what, Fatty, what's next for the Nessmans? So you in agreement? Is that the show? Because I got another question to ask. If not, or if so,
I would say I think that's a good goal. Like 2022, 23 would be a good goal for us to do it. And like we got to get Sharif and Darcy on board. I mean, we're just like the Beastie Boys. We're nothing without one. So we got to get everybody on board. Everyone's on board. Do a little. How long are we thinking? 2 months, 3 months, 2 months, maybe even a month.
Rest of my life. What about the rest of my life?
Rest of your life, or a month even.
Okay.
1 month of just a lot of shows with like your point, Matt, is right. Is like we need Darcy and Sharfie. Like, unfortunately, not on here because you can only have so many guys, but they are as key as anybody. Like, you need the whole gang. I find them for us truly, like, and I mean this sincerely, as a group. You get the 5 of us together, and it's like and that's the best part is that you just don't care if there's one person or no persons or just us. You just are having a blast.
Yeah,
truly, like it really is that way. It's like it's a magical time for us. Like it's just a blast, and so it's.
Yeah, I do think like we proved this, and you and I proved this in Nelson together when we were drinking just by ourselves.
Yeah, right,
good time guys.
Right,
gather a crowd. If you're having a good time, people want to be involved in that.
Totally.
We did that in Nelson when we were just drinking by ourselves.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
laughing
time,
and joking around like you're good kind guys.
Yeah.
People congregated and they want to be part of it. Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe you guys give off at your concerts. Like, it's just like you're a guest at your guys like having a blast. And that's a beauty. Like you just can't quantify it. It's a beautiful thing.
Beautiful. How about you, Bitch Renson? What's in your future?
Well, I as much as I agree with this commentary, and we've had some good times along the way, I don't know. I feel like perhaps we've accomplished all we can. We've hit the big time. We've won our Grammy. We've got our Hollywood star in front of the Samar Theater.
LWO Radio.
And LWO Radio.
This has been the conversation for milestones.
I'm not sure that it gets any bigger than this. So, well, as of this day, I'm gonna retire from the Nessmans.
Oh.
I've got some other interests that I want to explore.
Bombshell.
My basketball career, for example, I've been really working hard. I've been training hard. I've been doing a lot of layups and shoots and whatever you call it, passes. I've been doing all that stuff, and I think it's time to move on to a career in the NBA.
Or LNBA.
It's
or the LNBA. whatever, whatever happens, whatever opportunities come my way.
Wow,
But
I did not see that
but I
coming.
think that I've accomplished all that I can with the Nessmans. So it is with a heavy heart that I must announce today that I'm going to retire from the Nessmans.
What?
It's kind of crazy that you mentioned this, because we have a bit of a video, and joining the NBA, you don't. It's not a snap decision. It's based off of something.
LNBA.
And
this is a lot of hard work in the making, for sure.
And I think if we were to watch this video, it would explain the singular moment, which basically sets the subsequent moments through the Nessmans and then to this very moment for you announcing your retirement. So I'd like to share that. So let's take a look, and maybe we can shed some light on Spilly's, Bitch Renson's decision to leave the Nessmans. You may want to turn the volume up, and away we go.
Rick had me cut over a decade ago.
Our girls were looking for a game.
It was like living through a dream.
Coach Harris asked, "Who the hell is that guy?"
Rick knew my name after this game.
They were 10 years younger than us.
I remember he had a heavy shot.
Heavy shot.
Heavy.
Yeah, that had a heavy shot.
It was all about getting Spilly the ball.
He looked at me and said, "I'm on fire."
I'm on fire.
I had to pour gas on this fire.
Nobody wanted to guard him.
Dribbling, shooting, layups.
The girls were in tears.
It was the greatest athletic performance I've ever seen.
They wanted more touches. More touches?
Get the rebound. He's not passing.
What's Spilly do? Yes, triple pump.
At my funeral, I want people to know that I played in that game and that I witnessed a miracle. God damn.
Okay, I get it now. I get it. I see where you're leaving.
I owe Scotty an apology. I cut it just slightly short. There's a last image, but unbelievable. I gotta, before we talk about what we just saw, Scotty Rimmick, my normal co-host, has been working on that since the summer, guys. He pulled that together, and it's just an incredible taster for the 30 for 30 Spilly versus the Remets. And we got to get a live reaction here. Spilly, T Money, both featured in that. I'm gonna go to you, Spilly. Like, when you see that, do you get the goosebumps?
I get the goosebumps. I get the tears. Unbelievable job, fellas. Yeah, straight to the heart. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but I appreciate the gesture. Beautiful job.
Billy's right, and first of all, I just wanted Scotty. That's fantastic. And Spilly's right about it. Like, it's not that accurate because it's definitely an understatement, right? Like, it's like, so, you know, the setting for that is that Shannon Hecker, who's there, and Scarf. Thank you again. Scarf is the cameraman from Salmon Arm pulling that together.
Cameraman.
And so we're 24, 25 years old, and Shannon's the assistant coach on the grade 9, 10 girls from Shuswap that are playing basketball. And of course, I mean, they want to play us, right? I mean, that's sort of just makes sense, right? Like, that you'd want to play some guys that are a decade older than you. And so we did. And we show up to the game. And Max playing too. Spilly and I were talking about this. I actually can barely remember who was playing, but Spilly's playing, Max playing, I'm playing, Jen Connor is playing, and I have no idea. We have a few other teammates, and Shannon's the assistant coach of the Remettes, and it's quite similar to the Michael Jordan experience in certain ways. Is that, in junior high, Spilly gets cut from the Shuswap boys team, and
that's a shock.
And that's not right, obviously. I mean, it's obviously not. That's he proves that later, but a decade later, we get this chance, and we're playing the 14 and 15-year-old girls from the junior high that we went, and Mac and I were a bit uncertain, like, how do you approach a game like that? What do you do? What's the level of compete that you demonstrate in a game like that? And similar, I think, of The Last Dance, as Scotty did there, and Michael Jordan often had a pulse for something like that. Like, are your teammates a bit timid? And if so, you step up and you sort of, grab the bull by the horns if you're the Chicago Bulls. And that's what Spilly did in that game. We're playing these, they're good girls. Coolio's sisters playing on the team. They're a really good team. And Spilly just absolutely fucking torched them, right? Like, just goes off, and he's dropping 3 after 3. He hits this one long 3, like it's Steph Curry. It's a few steps back from the line, and he knocks it down. And Harris immediately calls a timeout because, I mean, God bless his soul, he died shortly after the game, but he just knows, I've got to do something here. I got to stem the tide. And I run over to Spilly because I'm just thrilled. And I've seen this coming for a few decades. And Spilly looks at me in the eyes. This is true. And Spilly looks at me and he's like, I'm on fire. And he was, it was just raining threes. He was taking it to the hole into, these girls some of them were close to 5 feet tall, probably, right? And like, he's bringing it to the hole strong and like double pumping and ripping it, like just firing it, right? Like, he's got it, like I told Maddie yesterday, like, it's like Ally Afraidy, like, he's got a heavy shot. And so nobody wants to block it. It's just like, you're going to break a finger probably if you try to block a shot. And so firing it, but it's dropping. Everything is dropping, just one of those days. And it's the greatest sporting experience I've ever seen. I saw Michael Jordan play against the Grizzlies. I have been to the Olympics, not personally. I just sat in a seat and watched Olympians participate. But Spilly versus the Ramettes it's not even close. It's just, I saw Mac Bowl at 235, and that was amazing. But just not quite at the level of Spilly versus the Ramettes. And so Spilly, I don't know if you remember much of it. Mac and I, we talk about it almost every day. And that's, 20 something years after the fact. It's just amazing. Yeah, I mean, it deserves a season. It's funny to just pinch it in at the end of an episode like this, but yeah. So thanks, Scotty, for pulling that together. And Spilly, back over to you.
Yes, thank you again, Scotty, and for T-Roy for the more than hyperbolic words. But it was an odd time for me because 99.9% of the time I was used to the shots just banking off the backboard and just shanking. And for some reason, that night, things were going in. I don't know why. I can't explain it. Just everything seemed to be working for me. So it was a high point of my career. I hope that I wish we had video footage of it so that I could send it to the NBA for my application there. I think that's how it works, right?
I think back in T-Money
send
had
it a CV
experience
in and
as well in terms of getting drafted, but that's a story for another day. But look, I cut that video short, and Scotty has already texted me, and I owe an apology. I just want to show the very last few seconds of that because I think it honestly I fucked up if I'm perfectly honest, and I think if you show this last few seconds, it really all ties everything together. So
Okay, let's watch this.
Look at that.
Built.
Yeah, and that's right. Like, who could guard him, right? Like, his shoulders like that, and I mean, he just had the complete game, right? Like, he's hitting it from deep, but he's taking it to the hole. I mean, like, so you put a guard on him, and he drives past the guard. You know, like you put a big person on him, and he's knocking down threes. Like, you know, it's. I might have that backwards, but like either way, it was just the stuff. I'll never forget it. I got home that night. This is like you're not carrying a camera, so you can't record it, you know, live on the spot. But I got home and I called Mike Scharf and we heard it on the CKXR again. I hate to keep bringing up the CKXR. But
great.
Hold on, guys.
Big inspiration.
Seeing you from behind, you were kind of chiseled. I think everyone wants to know if there was duct tape involved in that last photo.
Yeah, of course there was.
How many rolls of duct tape?
And speaking of wanting to know things, Britchie,
that's out of the bag. A lot of duct tape.
A lot of duct tape. Britchie, your co-guest from season 1 there wants to know about the Super Socko hat. I'm intrigued by that too, because honestly, I have been looking for this is like just random, but I've been looking for a Super Socko hat for about a year now, so that's pretty impressive.
The story is short and sweet, but it's I didn't buy this. I got this in probably 1983 for being an MVP or a sportsmanlike or most improved player. Probably with Adam Reps, maybe Mike's Auto. I think Mike's Auto was a team, wasn't it?
Look at the colors.
It's beautiful.
It pops. It's and what I love about it is it matches. It's the black and yellow, and it has the soccer, and it's Super Socko.
Bring that to the next May long, Koski.
No, do not. It'll go missing.
Everything, but I like at some point in the after hours session, I feel like we're in right now. Even though probably was there 5 people watching? I was like, gotta bring in the Super Socko at some point because it's kind of special. I probably should have started with this. Did I fuck up? I should have gone with started with Super Socko.
Should we start this over?
Yeah,
probably.
Okay, let's start it over.
We're known for starting with a strength.
Sponsors are Super Socko.
Are we talking original Super Socko or that orange one that I came out with later? Like which one's our favorite?
Like I would have got this when I was probably about 10 years old, so I'm thinking 1983.
Yeah.
What
do
is
you
that?
think we should go back to them as the LWO to be sponsored by Super Socko?
They almost came back like a few years back, but that's the whole. Like,
I just love the colors.
We're almost at 3 hours. I'm not telling this story.
Is there anybody left? Is there anybody watching even, or is he just us?
There's 20.
Scotty's still there.
We gained a couple. Yeah, we gained a couple.
Thank you, Fatty. Fatty, you're muted. Please jump in with the.
Jill's brother, I don't like your look.
No Santa Monte right now.
I miss
How
Monster.
she's around.
That is the original Super Soccer right there. That ain't the orange shit. That's a limey.
This is the real deal. This is actually
Thanks, Fatty. Thanks, Fatty. It's a great hat.
Was Super Socko any different from McDonald's drink? Orange drink?
Oh yeah,
heck yeah.
Was it?
lime. Like,
Was
you
it
do
though?
The balls in the back of your throat. Not those balls in the back of your throat.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Balls in the back here.
Yeah.
That, put that picture up again, Holla.
No, look, Mac Daddy is trying to claim that the orange flavor was better than lemon lime. Get out of
I'll
that's
buy that.
fucking-
But that
I
was
love
the
you,
original.
Mac.
I'm
That's
saying that was the
bullshit.
original. That's not the orange. Orange was better. That's the original.
No, I
But
like
balls
original all
tops
the way.
all of those.
Kosky, that is an amazing hat. I mean, thanks for busting that out.
It really is. Honestly, I found it sort of last minute today, and I was like, oh my god, it's black and yellow. It's super
So good.
soccer ball. It actually kind of, I almost teared up when I found it. It was
Kosky is also the guy who introduced black and yellow to the LWO.
Yeah, black and yellow, black and yellow.
That hat, Koski, I found one other one on Etsy about a year ago, and it was going for about $50 or $60. So you're sitting on some gold there. Do not bring it to Vernon; it'll go missing.
He's not
100%.
going to Vernon. There's no way he's going to Vernon.
Polis
Come
will
on.
steal it.
Poulos will steal it. It'll be in his pocket.
Patty, you'd have been proud of me. I did one shift last year or 2 years ago, I guess now. But
We'll shake Poulos upside down and come out of his pockets.
one shout out to Holla now. When you sub me in, Holla, thank you very much on the last the double win tourney, and it was thanks to you. You actually put me in for a shift, and I had no idea what I was doing up there.
2 titles.
And it was
You know
the
what?
game that Spilly almost had a hat trick. It was a special game. So I was so glad to be part of like one shift where I just ran around with my head cut off, doing not sure what I was doing, but it was a fun game.
I 100% remember that.
Yeah, me too.
It's
I
so
do.
good.
Kosky was
Well,
fantastic.
that's one of us then. We dropped back down to 17 after the Super Socko talk. Let's get the look. It's we're like this close.
It was
guys.
worth a shot. It was worth a shot.
Yeah, we got up to 20 and then back to 7. Anyways, look, announcements this week. We've had a bunch of announcements already. We talked about digitally remastering the Nessmans anthology, getting you guys some links for all the different music videos that played through LWO radio with participation from the Nessmans. Next week we're back. It is the season finale extravaganza, and an honest answer from me as your host. Scotty will be back in the hot seat as my co-host. I don't know what the hell is going to happen next week, and I don't know how we beat this week because this week's been a doozy. But I would say next week's probably not a week to miss because we go dark after that, and there's going to be a lot of shit going on. Champ's going to be there. Perry's going to be there. There's going to be music videos. There's going to be all sorts of crazy shit going on. I mean, really, I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a good episode. So join us next week for the season finale extravaganza. Of course, Nessman's house band, they've got a music video. Of course, they'll open for us with microphone. T-Money, do we have a birthday or anything this week?
I forgot, thanks to Brent Polis. Well, it's not that I forgot. I didn't know. Jordan Haas tomorrow.
Jay Haas is tomorrow. Happy birthday, Jay Haas.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal. So I think that's it for announcements. So I think the only thing left to do is shout outs. So I am going to go to Fatty first. Fatty, do you have a shout out? Anyone you want to shout out from this week's for this week's episode?
I'll shout out to the boys at the Victoria Fire Department. I don't be on the chat here, but they're watching. Appreciate them showing up. John Lupa, Jeremy Wilson, giving us the 17 mile to play at. Yeah, I don't really have any other than that. No, I'll come. Can you come back to me after these guys? I might have some good ideas after these guys come do something.
I told you before the show, just make it up, man.
That was good. You got a
We'll come
couple.
back. We'll come back. Yeah, that was pretty good. Okay. Spilly Benson, how about you? You got a shout out for us?
There's a number of people that I'd like to shout out to. First of all, my fellow bandmates, the Nessmans. Thumbs down to you all, including the wealthy hippie and Sultry Sue, if they are still listening. as well as to all the other great musicians who have joined us over the years. Mike Zobel,
good point.
Rob Reed, the Leslie Nezzies, Jessen, Moen, Colin. Shout out to all you boys. As well to some of the creators of our gigs, Andrew Voigt, aka Dutch, Jer, and I would like to thank way back Daryl and Elaine Koskamaki for tolerating our gigs in the pig barn.
Right, that's actually a good story.
It was Elaine at like 4 o'clock in the morning who would come down and say,
"Mark, is he still going?"
Yeah, boys. Yeah, maybe it's time to finish up with your jam session.
Yeah.
So very tolerant parents, and thank you, Daryl and Elaine.
Oh, you're so good. It's so much better than mine.
Jules, bro, you've got to have a shout out.
I got a couple. You know what? Like, no secret, some challenges in the last couple months. The one guy, like, everybody's been amazing, to be honest. Like, and so I don't want to get like all heavy or anything, but the one guy who's like kind of smart as shit is Mike Warby, and he has been amazing as far as just being on it. Like, the guy, I recommend Mike Warby to anybody, anytime. Like, he's, I don't know how to say anything, like, unbelievable. The guy's, we all know the guy's a Rhodes Scholar. He went to Oxford. In that time where you're kind of having shit going on, the guy, like, literally, I'd send an email out, half an hour later, he's back to you with an answer. It was honestly like that. So to Mike Warby, most shoe shop guys don't realize, I'm not even sure, but he might be a Jackson guy. Pretty sure.
Yes.
And a bit of a groaner like the other panel. The other one, of course, is the my lovely wife Teresa, who's my rock and all that. And to be honest, like my 5-year-old says, I love her too much, and I love the whole gang too much, and I love you guys too much. Is the truth. It's been a pleasure tonight to actually do this. We're so fortunate to have a group of guys like that we do to do this crazy shit. Like, I'm not even sure what this is. Let's be honest, but it's amazing. It's kind of one of those things you're just doing, and you're like, honestly, going. I literally talked to Teresa like 2 hours and 3 hours ago, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna put my wig on. I'm put my, my vest, and you're going downstairs. And you're like, I don't even fucking. This doesn't make any sense, but I love it. Like, you're going downstairs and you're gonna put on a show for your buddies or whatever. How do you explain this, guys? I have no idea. How do you explain this? It's amazing. So to her, I love her. I love you guys. You just realize it's pretty special to be doing what we're doing, and so shout out to the whole crew. Is the truth, guys, girls, everybody. So
nice.
Very nice, very nice.
We're and we got your back there for you and Teresa. So I know we've shouted you out a few times. So
yeah, you guys have been amazing, incredible. Thank you.
We love you guys, and anything we can do to help. So you just let us know. Well said, Koski. T Money, you got a shout out?
2 quick ones. Make it 3 quick ones. Mac Daddy helped me set up the set here, like another tried true Nessmans fan. And then 2 of the unsung heroes of this season. Mike Scharf helped me with this episode to prepare for it. Also, obviously, a Nessmans guy through and through. But also helped with the video. He was the one filming Shannon Hecker there, so he was fully engaged in wanting to get this story out to the masses. So Scarfy, thanks. Also, obviously, a great buddy. And another one that's behind the scenes on so much of the stuff. We've had all these songs, like next to Holla and Rimmick, the guy who's put probably the most effort into this season is Spilly. And it's putting together these videos that, like, that we're loving and that we're seeing. And, I might take 30 minutes to write something, and I can't imagine how many hours it takes Spilly to put together what Koski's sung, what Robbie has sung, what I've sung. Like, it's just something the rest of us aren't able to do. Well, actually, now that I've seen Scotty's video, maybe Scotty's able to do it. But like, it's just top notch stuff, and everybody loves that stuff, and I feel like Spilly doesn't get enough credit for all the work that he's done to make these episodes a success as well.
Never have.
Too much credit, man.
Such a good
It
shout
sucks
out.
that you're leaving the band, but whatever, no big deal.
I think he might come back.
Basketball, man.
It's a harsh reality.
WNBA.
The NBA is a harsh reality. He might be back.
I was just into the Nessmans for the money. Okay?
I know, I get it.
Fatty, before I go with my shout outs to you, did you want me to come back to you, or are you good? Do you want to
no, I did want to say that just listening to all this stuff, I think the best thing about this band was the gigs were great, and we would play, and it was great. But the funnest part for me, or one of the funnest parts, was sitting around afterwards talking about the gig with these guys.
Yeah.
And my wife now was my fiance then would come up and want to kind of get going. And I just, this is what we got to do. This is part of the whole process. There's the magic time. Sitting around afterwards talking about the gig with these guys that we just played the gig with. It was like we just went through something special.
Yeah,
and sitting around talking about it afterwards and rehashing it. And I think that was a very important part for us in all these gigs, is just hanging around afterwards, and like the Troys and the Macs coming up afterwards, talking about the gig, and then Sharp off taking a shit somewhere, and then coming back. And that was a very cool part, and I really appreciate that part of my life. And I hope that we can do it again sometime, because there isn't enough of that, and I think we got some shit left in us, some juice left in the juice boxes still. Okay.
Super Sacco.
In the Super Sacco juice box. Nice. Well said, Fatty. Listen, my shout out's super simple tonight. Monty, I think you do like my look.
Debatable.
Love you, bro. Great to see you still in the chat. And, that's it. Let's just keep things simple tonight. Coming in at a heavyweight, 3 hours and 6 minutes here.
Oh,
we knew it was going to be long. We warned you it was going to be long. We went longer than we thought.
That's tough.
But you know what? That's the way we roll.
I loved every minute of it. Thanks, Nessmans.
Yeah, you can do a marathon in the time that we did this.
I couldn't.
You can, Rich.
I can't.
Somebody could.
Hey, Holla.
Yes.
For never being somebody on the show before, I really appreciate what you've done here, and I appreciate all that you do. But this was fantastic. I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you putting this
Cheers to
all
Holla.
Holla.
Cheers, guys.
Holla.
Thank you.
Great.
Honestly, the best there is. Like, can't say enough.
You guys did great. I mean, the fans wanted it, and you guys delivered. And so with that, all I have to do is to say thanks to my guests. So thank you to the Nessmans, Bitch Renson, Jill's brother, and Fatty Gay. Thank you to my emergency co-host this week and number one Nessmans fan, T Money. He wasn't going to miss this episode for the world. So thank you to that. And with all of that said, the last thing that I say is, you know what? Be safe. You know it. And stay legendary. Good night, legends.